Welcome to the Dash 28 live stream. I'm going to be your host, Jeremy Duvall, and we got a great game tonight with Keith Randall versus Paige Neo. First off, our commentators will go quick around the horn. We got fresh with his second birthday donut, Britton Williams. Happy birthday, my man. Glad to have you on. We got looking the part, straight out of the secret chat cave in the murder basement, Felix Castro. How are you doing, Felix?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. And then from the other side of the world, from the future, Mo Gaddafi, the general himself. How's it going?
Yeah, great, man. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Cool. Well, first off, what we're going to do is we're just going to go into the list. This is going to be a really interesting match we got planned for you guys. So let's go ahead and get the first list up here. 1 second. Okay, so Paige, why don't you take us through the order of the cherry blossoms?
All right, I'm trying to read my own list off the phone screen here. So Man-at-Arms, Retainer, Force. They're there to have the large nerve and to unlock. Then we have the Order of the Brotherhood with Pathfinder. We have Order of Redemption with Brew of Strength, just for them to grind the game out. We have, what do we have here? Water Elementals, 1 regiment of 1 horde, and a horde of Earth Elementals for the defense 6. We have Order of the Forsaken with J Boots to make sure they never get hindered on their Alpha Charge. 2 Beasts of Natures with Wings and speed attack 7. And 2 Pegasus. 1 Druid with Bane Chant and Surge, and Unicorn with Lightning Bolt instead of Heal, and the Slashing Blade.
Awesome. So 13 total units with a 25 unit strength. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get Keith's list up here. Okay, now let's go through Keith's also creatively named army, Green Lady Current. So Keith, why don't you take us through your list.
So I have a Men-at-Arms Retainers Regiment. I have a Order of the Brotherhood Horde with the Brew of Strength, the Sacred Water, and the Pathfinder Banner. I have an Earth Elemental Horde with Healing Brew, another Earth Elemental Horde, 2 Woodland Critters units, 3 Beasts of Nature with Fly and the attack upgrades, Druid with Surge and Bane Chant, and then 2 Unicorns with Heal and Lightning Bolt and Fly, and 1 Unicorn with just Heal and Lightning Bolt.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at your guys' deployment. Okay, awesome. So we got Paige at the bottom and then Keith at up top. Keith, why don't you take us through your deployment?
Hold on. No, I'm not muted. Okay, so Paige has some more bodies than I do, so I felt like I needed to concentrate a little bit. So I concentrated a little right and spread out across the thing. So I just sort of tried to react to that as best I could, knowing I was going to try to concentrate right. A lot of flying on the left.
So why don't we just go from left to right? Why don't you just take us through your units real quick? And I'll highlight them.
I'll tell you my strategy. Cool.
No, you don't have
so on the far left,
super deep. Just give us just the frosting.
Yeah, on the left, Beast of Nature, and I assume for Paige's YouTube video, we numbered them based on when we deployed them. So that Beast of Nature was deployed 9th. The one next to it was deployed 10th. 2 unicorns in the middle, deployed late, 11 and 12. A unicorn not flying, deployed 13th. The Brotherhood Horde with the Woodland Critters behind it, the Men-at-Arms behind that. The 2 Earth Elemental Hordes. One on the right has Healing Brew. Druids behind them. And then the Beast of Nature is behind them.
Okay. And then you've given both your tokens to the Men-at-Arms regiment?
Men-at-Arms in the back, bringing up the rear.
Got it. Awesome. So Paige, why don't you take us through your deployment? Start on your left and then just work us through it.
Yeah, so if you can see the number 1 is my Beast of Nature all the way on the left. I have a Water Elemental Regiment next. Behind that, I have the Unicorn. And next to them, there's the Order of the Forsaken. And my Man-at-Arm Horde. And then my Order of Redemption right in the middle. Next to that is the Earth Elemental Horde. And behind them is the Pegasus. And further to the right is the Order of the Brotherhood with Pathfinder. That's why they're green. And Water Elemental Horde. And behind that is the Druid. Behind that is the Pegasus. And all the way on the other side is the Beast of Nature.
Awesome. And then it looks like you wrote out all the terrain heights. You guys are just using sort of standard terrain heights.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. The field is flat.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll kick you guys out. Thanks for going over your lists. Have a good game. This is going to be a real exciting, cool first mirror match. So, yeah, just awesome. Well, good luck to both you guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
See you soon.
See you on the other side.
Okay, so our first mirror match, huh? Right? Really? It's in the stream so far?
I think so. Yeah, it's and personally, I absolutely loathe playing mirror matches. Like they drive me insane. I love watching them though. Like when I'm not part of the battle, two people having the same access to the same tools, seeing what they picked, or even when they have the same tools and how they use them, I think is an incredibly great test of skill and a very specific type of skill. So I hate playing them, but I love watching them. So this should be interesting.
Right, especially when the scenario is already determined in advance. Like they know what they're playing. So how do they build these lists for push specifically? Do they build it specifically for push? You know, that's pretty interesting to think about.
So I think both armies brought something that's an easy push token carrier. So I think we've got the Horde down on Paige's side, and then the regiment, the sort of standout, everyone else does something except this one regiment of dudes on foot in the back.
Token holders, yeah.
Whose basically job is like, hey guys, you carry these push tokens and try not to die.
Right.
While everything else does its job. So.
But he's also got the way they've deployed differently. Pages has his basically in the front lines, just be hoping that it just survives. Whereas the other one has not only two pieces of chaff, but a night horde in front of it. So it's just there to kind of plow the way for them as they make their way across the battlefield. That's pretty interesting deployment. We'll see if
there's not that many threats over there for Paige. So
right,
because really, there's not a lot of debate where like you said, the push tokens are going to go, right? Because their other mainline infantry all need to have that element of surge. You need to surge them, right? So
surge or speed, yeah, pretty much. I think they both have 6 flying units. I think if I counted correctly in my whopping 15 minutes of research on the list prior to this match going on, but
yeah, I think so.
Both, both definitely want to get into combat quickly, so it's going to be interesting.
So, Paige is going first. So.
Yeah, Paige has got the first turn.
Yeah, so he won the roll, took first turn. It'll be interesting to see. This is one of the scenarios where there are so many flyers, there's so much sort of open board space to grab that going first is really important. But Keith is sort of deployed in a way that he is so compact. Right. That whole formation could just be moved up a ways, and that would be his first turn possibly. So he might not hate it going second, but we'll see.
Right.
And do you think that's just part of his flyer defense, is to try to stay compact and not get horizontal with his deployment?
I mean, that's what it feels like. He's got
Yeah.
Earth Elementals next to Impassable on one side. He's got only a little bit of Surge, but if all he needs to do is get something into his arc and get close to it, it's enough, you know? And he's got, like, what's the shooting? Because the shooting from his side is reasonably strong from the, what's it, like 15 lightning bolt coming out?
Yep.
From Keith's side?
Yeah, Keith's
15
side.
lightning bolt. Yes, 15 lightning bolt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that can put a hurt on some stuff.
Yep.
Because their lists are similar in some ways, right? But, you know, Keith has that little bit of more lightning bolt, but Paige has the Order of Forsaken Horde, so another sort of mobile hammer.
Right. And I think they are. Yeah, I think they both have the same amount of surgible targets. But Keith's got 2 hordes of Earth Elementals versus the horde and regiment of Water Elementals. So that'll be interesting to see how that choice works. I guess Paige has got one more. He's also got a horde of Earth Elementals. He's got 3 surge targets.
Yeah.
Compared
So
to
what's sort of interesting here is, like, Order of the Green Lady is really hot right now. Like, I'm sorry,
so hot right now.
It's so hot.
so hot. And it's a funny position because Brotherhood was so not hot in the last edition, and now that they've basically broken up with each other, and there's now these theme versions. There's a lot of people looking at Green Lady, and there's a lot of good stuff in this list. But these are subtly, like, different lists. One is focusing a lot on sort of maneuverability, speed, region, and sort of those sort of traditional aspects of it. And the other side is bringing Earth Elementals and a Night Horde, which is a much blunter, sort of tougher object. So we'll see how it all works. Keith is bringing heavy Beasts of Nature, while Paige has brought the Order of the Forsaken and some other stuff. So it's like they're both really good looking lists to me. They both have a lot of tools, and it just shows how strong the army is right now, that 2 people can make very different choices on how they're building it and both come out strong.
Because that's always what you hope to see in a mirror match, right? Is not just like unit for unit, even though, like you said, that can be interesting, right? When you're thinking about how even losing one piece in those scenarios can be game changing, but it is nice to see the difference between the lists.
Yeah, I think list on list can, like, exact list on sort of exact list can be a huge, like, test of skill, but it can also be extremely swingy, right? Like, this isn't chess, this is a dice game. The fact is, you could make generally the right play, but because you're in a mirror match and one small dice swing throws that piece away, and you have no way to recover because they have the exact same things you do and the exact sort of same plan. So I do like seeing that they each had access to the same stuff but made different choices.
So
it looks like, Paige is just moving up the middle.
Yeah, so I was going to ask Mo, what do you think going through Paige's mind as he's sort of, making these first moves? Like,
Okay, Paige, I mean, he's a very, very, very cautious player. He will pre-measure every single move. So what he likes to do is he doesn't like to commit that early. I think he's been playing Basileia before Brotherhood quite a bit. So he's been working on getting those combo charges in. He's quite. I'm sure he's quite wary of the 2 Beasts of Nature on the left flank.
Right.
Yeah, they're just probably there to counter the Order of Forsaken Horde and to prevent him from sweeping down the left flank. So yeah, I think it's he's probably he's using the Water Elemental Regiment as like a chaff, like trying to bait the Beast of Nature in, and Water Elementals. It doesn't have much healing though, so it's interesting to see Keith has a lot more healing. Keith has healed 15 in addition to lightning bolt 15. So Paige has gone with more units instead of more magic.
Look at you doing way more research on this than I have. That's good on you.
I mean,
I'm like, oh wow, I'm learning this too.
Well, and I mean, I think it's a good combo, right? When you have just enough lightning bolt to want to force your opponent to move into you, plus defensive units and some heal, so that if you do, give up those units, you have some staying power. Because I think that's been an interesting trend that we've seen in a lot of the Call to Arm games is what you do when you take that early damage from shooting, how that can really affect your game plan, affect your speed, affect your patience, really. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out here.
Right. I know I talked briefly with Paige last night, as I'm assuming he was writing his list or getting ready, whatever, for tonight's matchup. And he said he was pretty worried about, Keith and what he would come with his lists. And, because Keith's a really solid player out of the Southeast United States. And, he's got his reputation as being a really good player for a reason. So, I know Paige was kind of worried about that. It's be kind of interesting to see, them clash in Call to Arms round 4.
So it looks like he's taking a look to see if those water elementals get charged, what the angles would look like after.
So Paige he's moving forward, but he's not like plowing forward.
yeah.
It's a measure. There's some long range units on both sides. So I think he's being a little wary and just sort of starting to close things down, push forward. Sorry, I had to step away for a moment. So if I'm just repeating what y'all said, my bad.
No, not really. We were just kind of talking, and Mo was saying Paige is kind of a cautious player, and so even though he's moving first to take the initiative, he doesn't want to do what I would do and just go full hog up the board as quickly as possible.
Do the full Castro. He's not done the full Castro yet.
Not doing the full Castro.
He's
probably had a lot less
operation
too. So
Operation Getting Their Grill.
That's what I do.
Well, let's talk about that. Paige is sort of known as like he does all the math in his head on every single combat. Very tactical, very cautious player. What do you think about that? Do you think doing every single combat by the math is good? I know some players just go for what they feel. Do you think that's an advantage, a disadvantage? Sometimes, getting tied into always looking at the pure numbers.
I think a lot of players who say they go off feel, good ones. Sorry, I should say good players that go off feel.
Dang it!
Is really because they've done enough reps with that army or that game that their feel is actually pretty close to the math.
Right, it's subconscious.
Right, they're like, I should be able to break that, and then you figure out the math, and you're like, yeah, it's on an average of a 5 twice to get them, or something, or that seems dodgy, and you look, and it's like it's a 9 twice or an 8 twice, and it's sort of just how you look at it. Like, are you someone that does the math, or are you someone that just can kind of have put in enough reps to intrinsically know it? Now, I also know there are players who just go off feel and are not as good. And I don't mean that in a insulting way. It's just where they'll constantly be sort of like, oh, I thought I'd do better there. And you're like, the average is saying you wouldn't have done better.
Well, I like to quote a great smart man in our community that says, math is like science. If you don't believe in it, it doesn't apply to you. But you are right, though. When it comes to getting, and that's why we talk about the importance of getting reps. I mean, the one we all talk about is the list. Is this list, is that list? But we do say a lot of it is the player and its strategy. Well, those come from reps. And so once you've repped game after game after game with those units, you've learned roughly, hey, this unit should survive a potential hit like that, or this unit should be able to break that potential unit after that. So, like I said, it's the importance of getting those reps. So, like you said, even though you're going by feel, it's a feel that's kind of fed subconsciously by, reps and the math, really.
Which is why certain units or armies, like I remember Trident Realms in V2 when not as many people were playing them, you'd kind of come up against them and like all of your kind of feel and intrinsic knowledge is wrong because of ensnare. You're just like, I should be able to kill these things. Oh, I can't.
Right. It's like Stealthy was, with the Night Stalkers. Just kind of like, well, my shooting numbers are all off now because
I think it's you don't have the muscle memory, right? You call it a repetition bias, or you don't have all those reps to kind of gain that sense. So I think that probably we're using the odds as like a starting point when you're first trying to make those steps into becoming a better player. And I wonder sometimes in this sort of environment of UB with no clocks, do you think that like helps those kind of players who like to really go over the math in their head?
Yes. I think an unclocked environment aids a analytical, low pressure player. Definitely. I think I don't know who, but I think there would be players who thrive in a social tournament and time pressured environment, half drunk, that maybe don't play as well on UB. And I think there's some quiet, introverted players that are thriving on UB that might not do as well in the tournament, physical tournament environment. But that's okay. That's all part of the game. And the place and style you're playing has to adapt to the place you are playing it in.
Okay, so it looks like we're going into the shooting phase.
Okay.
Probably looking at targets, with the unicorn. Going to try to go into the Beast of Nature.
Yep.
And with such the low availability
That's
healing
his
on
only
that side of the
shooting,
board,
so-
Yeah.
might as well start plinking some damage on him.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's interesting, like how tight sort of Keith deployed up here, where he's got so much of pretty much all of his real units on one side of the board, and everything outside of that is really just flyers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So. I mean, his actual combat ground units really are in such a very small board space.
Like the plan there is clear, is to smash that side and then hold something in the middle.
Yeah.
It also helps when you have like 1 billion flyers to sort of hold empty board space on one side. It's pretty useful.
Right.
So we're going down to bottom 2. So what do you think's going through Keith's head? Anything Paige did in his first movement that was like, what? Or what do you think? Where do you think Keith's looking right now?
For me, it looks like his deployment just moved forward a little. So it's a very cagey first turn from him, and we'll see what Keith goes for. But
I think, like you said, probably similar, but they can only do that for so long, right? Because eventually, someone's
how much heal does Paige have?
He doesn't have much.
He's got heal 2 on the druid. He replaced it on the unicorn with lightning bolt.
So heal 2, but then the water elementals regen. That's really bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't shoot them. But
literally everything else in the army is a target.
No, I think because he has Order of Redemption, right?
Oh, they regen as well. So it's 3 regenning units. So that might mitigate a little bit, somewhat, the lack of heal. But
But the thing is, there's a few targets kicking around that might be really good to plink off with a bunch of lightning bolt. So we'll see. You don't want to give up a bunch of position for this, but if we're just stalling for time, I think Keith, unless Paige is significantly advancing his position while doing it, the side with the more shooting would rather stall. So
that buys you the time needed to put some damage on. So hopefully the grinds don't last as long.
And because all of Keith's unicorns kept their heal. So he's rocking heal 15?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
He wants to just sort of engage in one small area, wherever he wants to engage first, while shooting the rest of the board. Because the way you overpower heal is you hit everywhere at once, and they can only heal one unit. So
And so, even though it's not game changing, his druid is noted still does have his heal, so it's technically heal 17 in the list, but
okay,
that's not gonna,
that's a lot.
that's a lot for the
Yeah,
list.
no, it's not a small amount, especially when a couple of your frontline units are defense 6 Earth Elementals.
Right.
Well, there's the defense 6 Earth Elementals for sure. That's a great, but also there's a 22-24,
Yep,
32 attack Order of
The
the
Night
Brotherhood
Horde, right?
Horde.
Yep,
Yeah.
and that's another great target.
Yes, sir. And they've also got the order of the Vial of Sacred Water, so they
Yeah.
get to, is it once per game they get to regen?
Yeah, once D2.
Yeah,
D3.
D3. So I mean
Yeah.
that gives them a little bit of not maybe necessarily needing an emergency heal off any plink shooting if that gets to that, but
Now, do you think Keith's idea with the two beasts of nature on the left basically is to just keep Paige honest, and he's thinking maybe anything that Paige's turns even slightly to the left or whatever is keeping it away from the middle and Keith's main battle line?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good little. You always want to have something that can threaten, because that keeps the, like you said, keeps the Forsaken. Because if not, like if you imagine those aren't there, those Forsaken just hop that forest and turn like 20 inches forward, pivot right.
oh yeah, definitely.
And be scary. So him throwing those out there, there's two of them, so it's more dangerous than just one. And if they start seeing flanks, they tear stuff apart. So it's like having three beasts of nature that all fly and all have the attack upgrades is a great utility battery.
Right.
615 points ish for the three of them. I mean, it's not cheap, but to have three dangerous flyers, it's a bargain.
Yeah, 410 for that much threat on that flank is pretty dang good. Just to keep people honest. So, okay.
So it looks like Keith is sort of just setting right now. He's setting up all his unicorns, picking kind of where he wants to be for shooting.
In my head, they're all My Little Ponies, just so we're clear.
I mean,
Three,
what else could it be?
three My Little Ponies just launching lightning bolts out of
You
their
know,
horn.
the Order of the Forsaken's not a bad target for that lightning bolt, is it? Really?
No,
Yep.
it's a great target.
No, I
He's
think
trying
that
to get. He's trying to get them uncovered. He's trying to see what he can do about non-cover shooting with them. But
Right.
and that's why I believe Paige was trying to keep them barely covered behind that forest and that unit. But on the hill,
Right. But this might be one of those things too. I know it came up in earlier game today. Is at what point does the shooting become unbearable for Paige and forces him to commit? You know.
yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
but
we will.
for me, it's like, and this is the thing I ran into weirdly with dwarves a lot, which is he has multiple regen units, and you're like, great, I have all these units with regen. Shooting won't be as much of a problem. And then the opponent, if they have good shooting, just doesn't shoot them and shoots everything else.
Everything
And all
else.
you're left with. I ran into that a lot with dwarves. You have this great defense, whatever, 5 or 6 battle line, and then you have your shield breaker standing there with a giant sign that says "Shoot me" with everything you have.
Shoot first. Yeah.
And it's not like the Order of Forsaken is a bad target. It's not like you're throwing lightning bolts into rabble. This is
Right.
It's something that he needs to deal with anyway. So it's, you know,
That's a not insignificant target.
yeah.
Especially even points wise, they're 270 points right now. So I mean, that's a good chunk of his army.
Okay, and then the Water Elemental Regiment's leader point is definitely in the forest, so it can see.
Yeah, and that Forsaken is the old. I mean, they're bad Elohi or bad Dracon riders. They're 15, 17. Only Thunderous. They have stride boots, the J boots, so they'll punch something. But Yeah, if he can just lightning bolt them for 2 turns,
I say he's got to get there
break.
first. Yeah.
That's break territory.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime you can put lightning bolt into like a 15-17 defense 5 unit, is because those usually are the ones that have the nerve pools you can get it to with that 10 to 15 lightning bolt when you're in that range.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'd love to see the elementals, the earth elementals, just pushing forward. They want to keep that. Are those water elementals across from them? Who's across from them?
Yes.
So we
Yeah,
have a
water
water
elemental.
elemental horde, and then the Order of Brotherhood with Pathfinder.
Okay, so the Pathfinder cares because that wall will
Yeah.
still mess with their guy. The water elementals gives nothing
0.
about it, but water elementals are crush 1.
Yep.
Correct.
That's not scaring defense 6.
I think this is a nice little
17 heal.
placement. A nice little placement on this Beast of Nature, trying to defend against Paige getting his Beast of Nature into some funky spots.
Yeah.
Moving those.
Where's Pages? Okay, there's Pages. He still has room to the right, but I guess you don't care that much if you can trap him in that corner.
Yeah.
But I feel like he has a route to kind of get around.
Right. But if that's also taking turns away from that Beast of Nature doing much anything, especially if he pushes on ahead and
Actually, I'm crazy. What's the arc on Keith's Beast of Nature in the top right?
So he's got.
Okay,
For-
he's faced that way. He's faced to the bottom right.
right.
Yes,
Okay.
he's facing to
Yeah,
the rock.
Yeah, that's great. He's covering that gap.
Yeah.
There. I thought he was faced the other way.
Oh no, he's facing that way. So I think it's a nice little placement for that.
Right.
I support that.
So checking out the chat, we got Rashad and Andrew, visibly Riley's in there. Rashad says he likes the deployment of where the Earth Elementals were put on kind of on that section of the board.
Right.
Dude, I love Earth Elementals in the Order of the Green Lady. It feels like cheating, where you're like, I get all these great knights and flying units and beasts, and also Earth Elementals.
Uh-huh.
I know there's a lot of love for water elementals, but Keith's list is very close to how I would build one. I like it a lot.
I like how when anyone's playing Brotherhood, Andrew Summers shows up to be like, "In my day, I played
Back in my
Brotherhood."
day. So what's that unit across the way from the Earth Elementals?
So we have Water Elementals, and then these are the Order of Brotherhood with Pathfinder.
Well, so the Water Elementals have Striders, so they don't give a
Yes.
crap about the walls.
They don't care, but
Yeah.
my thought is that Earth Elementals don't care about Crush One
Shooting. Yeah.
melee horde.
Looks like Keith is going into the Forsaken. Order of the Forsaken with some lightning bolt.
3 damage so far from 2 lightning bolts.
Little,
Last lightning bolt. 2.
yeah, with lightning bolt with cover.
damage.
So
Yeah.
4's not horrible, really, when you think about it. It's pretty good.
Right.
I mean, if
Considering
he's taking
Cover.
4 to 6 around, he's in
Yeah.
he's in waiver/break territory very quickly.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, hell, if he just another turn of shooting puts him into waiver territory. So
Now going into pages, top of 2.
Yeah, I think there's actually I don't know how it is, but I think Andrew Summers is in some kind of deep vault with computers all around him that knows every Brotherhood game that's going on at any point in the world and just appears.
They are calling my name.
He's just got a bank of old style phones and the red
Yeah.
one rings and he's like, Brotherhood's in trouble. I'll be
Yeah.
there.
Uh-huh.
actually, I think it's more realistic for him that he's actually calculated the odds of another Brotherhood game going on and has just predicted it through that, just mathematically.
My algorithm says Brotherhood are being played here at this time.
Mhm. Mhm. And then he just comes up out of the water to watch the game, like, with the face paint special forces out of the water. And he just has dice. I have your nerve dice. Here you go.
That feels accurate. Really.
He's got Excalibur between his teeth, like a special forces knife just coming out of the water.
So as Paige moves, what do we think about Keith's first turn? He's playing a little defensive. He's doing a little peppering with the lightning bolt.
Dude, he's
got
for
the
me,
build for it. Like,
yeah,
that's exactly what he wants to do. Like Brenton mentioned earlier, like he's got the shooting. So if anything, he doesn't need to engage. Like, why move up and get punched in the face right away when you can actually hold off and
Yeah.
Now, theoretically, there's a scenario here, and that scenario says you want to get your tokens across the board. You don't have to. You can just kill the other guy's tokens or hold the center. But he does have tokens on foot guys, and theoretically, if the stuff clears out in front of them, they can march and start moving.
Yeah.
But it's going to take that unit 3 turns to get to the other side of the board unobstructed movement.
Right.
So, too many turns of holding them back. He's got to count on taking these other tokens or the center to get a win, which is something to keep an eye on.
I'm almost thinking what he's planning on doing is just moving that Night Horde, just destroying whatever it is, and then being able to turn in towards the center, because I'm assuming water elementals in a Beast of Nature probably aren't going to... And so once they make that turn in towards the center, the knights or his foot regiment is just going to be able to just move on by and, get into the other side of the board. But
yeah, this may be one of those games, right? It's like a whirlpool game, right, where they start off like facing each other, but then they go counterclockwise away, and we end up fighting.
Yeah, I just think that Beast of Nature in the top corner is one trying to prevent that.
Yeah,
right.
And the other is that Night Horde just sort of pivots and gets his leader point on the hill.
It can see it can see all day, right? Yeah.
It can also blow up anything it touches on coming downhill. Like if it gets on that hill and gets a Thunderous Charge 3 unhindered charge, 32 attacks on 3s and 2s at that point. That's just that'll break it in one go.
18 wounds on something. But...
Yeah, and that's the thing with those retainers, right? They aren't dogs of war. They aren't.
Dogs of war. They are not.
No, they are not.
They're not.
See Paige checking the line of sight on the Beast of Nature there, right? He wants to make sure that forest is covering the flank of those units from him, I think.
Yep. Right now, he's giving him water elementals only.
Mm-hmm.
And those are there to keep the beasts honest, because they'll ground a beast. No problem.
Mm-hmm. I just don't. Yeah, exactly.
He's making his new battle line, anchoring it on this forest, trying to keep a toe out of the forest so he can use it as a big shield. But he's got to start charging, because too many turns of this and those Forsaken aren't here anymore.
Right.
And when you play like an army, and they talked a little bit about it in Brinley's game earlier, if you haven't seen it, make sure you go back to Dash 28 YouTube. It's a really fantastic game. But that idea, when you play armies that are rich in 15-17 and you start taking damage, man, those units come turn 3 or 4, you could have a lot of, you could be really close to losing those units.
Yep.
So one of the problems I think he's facing here is that he wants to stay out of the forest for line of sight reasons. But if he stays out of the forest, then those unicorns on the hill, like how tall does a unicorn get on a hill?
6.
I believe so.
So basically, I think the infantry in front of the Forsaken will not be giving them any cover, and he takes the full lightning bolt party.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's, I think, one of the things that he is concerned about here. I don't know. It's always hard to read someone's mind in these situations. But
yeah, actually, the non-winged unicorn goes to height 6. The winged unicorns go to height 7. So
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's
yeah, because they're height 4.
Oh.
They're large cav.
Oh yeah, that
so.
large calf. So
Mhm.
But yeah, either way, I mean, they're all day being able to shoot without cover on top of that hill once he gets out from behind that forest.
And I don't see, and Paige doesn't really have an effective way to deal with those. I think those unicorns are basically going to be shooting or healing for the majority of the game.
So they'll be doing the Keith Randall thing. Is that what you're saying? Just
Oh yeah,
suicide charges.
that's why you see that Keith is playing the pointy-eared Order of the Green Lady.
the slightly elven variety. Got it. Yeah.
But I think there's a reason why you see a lot of people playing Order of the Green Lady, not just for gameplay, but it is such a rich thematic army that you can do a lot of really cool stuff with.
Right.
And I don't know, at least for me, like I love the sort of idea and lore of any kind of forest-based, up against the odds, a little bit tribal, a little bit sort of feral, return to nature like army. That there are so many cool modeling and sort of lore opportunities there. I wish the elves were better right now, or I'd make a wood elf version of that. But I think if I made any version of it, it would probably be a Order of the Green Lady. Except they're so hot right now that the hipster gamer in me
doesn't want to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha.
too many people playing it.
So moving up with these guys, but like you guys said, still staying out of that forest to use that as a
Allegedly.
protection, basically.
the wings are in the forest.
With that wing, we don't know. It's all in, but there's that plausible deniability. Like, no, it's not touching.
I love the fact that we still have to deal with overhang in an entirely digital game. Like,
Right.
there's no reason.
No reason for overhang, but it's there.
Oh my gosh.
We've still got units overhanging the base because it looks cooler.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is how he will use his Page will use his Pegasus. Basically, the two woodland critters are just shielding the horde, and yeah, he doesn't have any shooting to take them out, so he has to get rid of them somehow.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that Pegasus is such a cost-effective piece, right? Trying to get that in somewhere.
Right. He's just using that as your basic mounted individual that you would have in any other army.
So do you think...
So
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just like, it's interesting to see here Paige's list is so light on traditional chaff. It's got its 2 Pegasus, and then it's got a regiment of water elementals ish maybe, but like that's it. It's sort of counting on being able to just skip the chaff stuff and blow a bunch of stuff up. But when he's faced with his mirror, that's really hard to do.
Right. Accurate.
We always talk about that, right? When you're playing, and I wouldn't even call this a skew list, but when you're playing a list that you're designed to do something, you always wonder how are you going to do when you go up a list that's designed to do like that same thing, right?
Yeah, that's my nightmare.
Yeah.
My nightmare is always showing up with a list to build to do something, and then you across from the table from you is the same style list better.
Yeah.
So like I say that's my nightmare, but I think it's actually a really effective list building sort of critique. Like when you are making your list, making sure you're not just making a bad version of someone else's. So,
Right. I think was it Jeffrey Trace was talking about that when he was doing List Builder Studio, doing the mental exercise, something like that. Was if he went up against an army that was similar to his, like what would he do?
Now, what do you think?
I mean,
I could be remembering that, but
yeah, sure. I'm sure like a lot of people, no shame to admit this. I spend way too much time thinking about Kings of War armies and variants and stuff to do, and I'm constantly sort of going down different avenues of like, I wonder if this would work. And there's stages of it, like in your head, you think of it, and then you pull out like the good list to make a quick version, or you pull out easy army to make like a real version. Your shopping models, and a lot of times I get partway down that path, and I'm like, oh, I just made a bad Varangur list. Why am I doing that? I should just play Varangur. Or
exactly.
Why am I doing all this? Ogres can just do that better or something.
Right.
And no one's doing that right now, so they're not that effective at it or something. So there's a lot of times I get halfway down a list building. I'm like, oh, congratulations. I made an unoptimized other armies list. So.
Right.
Mike brings up in the chat that do the regiment of water elementals, so they fall into that new term coined earlier today, thick chaff.
Thick chaff.
Thick chaff.
Let me look.
Thick
Let
with
me look
two
at these
C's.
stats.
Well, they're dash 14, defense 4 with regen. Is that?
Defense 5.
Oh, defense 5 with. Okay.
Yeah, I think any dash 14, dash 15, that like feels thick to me. So
yeah.
The question is, at some point, things aren't chaff anymore. They don't even count as thick chaff. I think the elementals still fit. They're at 130. But like, if you start getting up into the like 150 range, they're just a unit. Like
That's a unit, yeah.
I think for me, like you say, that 120, 125, even 130s, you start to push it a little bit there, right?
But that was my sort of like why it needs its own name and why Ashley came up with a perfect one is that like when we just call something chaff and it covers this entire range from a 65 point unit to 130 point, large infantry regiment, it's tough. These operate in this sort of different role in this kind of interesting other space in between a legitimate like block and a piece that is meant to be throwaway but does more than just, you can't just throw it away. It has to do a little more.
So it looks like Paige he's starting to move up his Pegasus a little bit. What do you think? What do you think he's thinking with those Pegasus, where he wants to get them in?
I'm thinking he needs some charges next round, and he's getting them into a position to cap off units or block return charge arcs. That's where they're sticking, is they're just getting themselves in a position to be useful. It's the turn before the turn.
Yeah,
it's happening right now. Oh.
Okay, so he's gone into the shooting phase.
Yep.
Two hits. No wounds?
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, the defense 5.
Yeah.
That's
a no
what you
bueno.
get for only bringing a little lightning bolt.
Okay, now we're going into
The Chat Cave Bullies, round 2.
bottom of 2.
I'd like to think if we see any really strange moves from Keith that it's actually his newborn taking the wheel. Which is units for him.
He has that excuse, right? That
Yeah, I'm pretty certain he's
does
actually rolling the dice. His newborn's just pressing the buttons on the mouse to.
That reminds me of like the early days of World of Warcraft. If you would like wipe your party, it'd always be like, "Well, my neighbor came and played my account. It wasn't me."
Yeah.
Sounds like a just Jeremy thing.
I just thought he could be. I don't know. I thought he brought his baby as protection, but he doesn't know me. Obviously, baby's like my speciality. So
making him cry.
So do you think you're going to see more of the same from Keith in this round? Just not moving when he doesn't have to.
I think he needs to. I think he needs to prepare to be charged.
Okay.
Like that's what's happening here, and to set himself up in a way to counter punch effectively, which I think this army is already planning to do.
Right.
Ooh, spicy.
Interesting. So let's look at the.
There's the surge.
The surge would be. That's a good question.
So Page's surge.
It's the druid.
Where's this druid hiding? Freaking UB.
That is a
Let's find
fantastic
his
question.
druid.
Where's the druid? Anyone in the chat, if you want to point out where the druid is, we would appreciate
Oh,
it.
it's over here.
Yeah, it's behind the water elemental horde. So
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not effectively on the other side.
Nowhere near where he could
Yep.
do anything about it. Got
Yep.
it.
So that's dirty.
Oh, this is dirty. Very, very nice play.
I mean, it is Keith. So
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's which way is he pointed?
He's pointed straight down.
yeah,
Okay.
I think you got to go
So
20.
he had to angle that way to do the move.
Yeah,
You can't turn, but
but
later
even
in
here, you know,
I mean, at that point, he's definitely forcing the issue with the Forsaken. They're gonna have to go someplace.
and the next
He-
turn, like you talk about, Britain, that getting set up for the following turn, that beast is in a really good spot.
he's pressing the go button on Page.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's that pressure.
Like, you better freaking move, because and that's one of those where like there's a limited amount of surge defense or flyer defense when you have surge, but when you have one unit that can cast surge, and that one model I think only has surge 4 or something, maybe.
Yep.
Such
Which is
You
just
still-
technically really all you need in a lot of instances. But when you're on the opposite side of the table from where you need it, that's
look, I don't know that it's enough for what he needed here, because he would have to reform that unit turn backwards, and then he would have to surge the whole way to make contact.
And this other beast of nature too, he put in a good spot. It can't be seen by any of this stuff. It's all a lot in a good little
right.
blind spot.
So that one to the right of the water elementals would have been in a good position, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that would not have been a safe spot if surge
No,
was on.
if there was surge, yeah.
but there's not. So that's why Keith could feel confident taking that.
And there's a question there: is could that druid have been more central, where it could still move to surge the water elementals, but also potentially shift to the other side? Probably not in this
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, because
Too far to the side.
those beasts of nature were deployed really late, so I'm sure that was taken into consideration because the druid's only speed 5. So
yeah, he's not mounted. So
Yeah.
Page is in a very tight spot now on the left.
yeah, because if I remember correctly, when they said they did the numbering, the beasts of nature, they were like 9th and 10th, I think, on the deployment. So
Yes, they were some of his
Yes.
final. You're exactly right, Felix. They were some of his final deployments.
So what he has done is he's freed up the Page's Beast of Nature on the left to decide what it wants to do. And I think now Keith has said, hey, I've got my Beast of Nature in a really bad spot for you, and I can even take my foot further off the gas and maybe back these unicorns up and keep them out of the Beast of Nature's charge arc so he doesn't have anything good to do this turn. But we'll see.
right.
So Garrett in the chat has also said everything is chaff, probably in my response to calling some things not chaff, which is fair. In the right moment, whatever gets you closer to a win becomes chaff.
yeah, I mean, in the game, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what died to what or when it died. It's who do you win the scenario.
Right.
Like I've seen Shobik chaff. I've seen
I've
all
used
kinds of-
Stampede's as chaff. I mean, yeah, it's what's your Stampede? No. Yeah, like I said, if it gets you closer, it's chaff. But I mean, at that point, it's more like ablative armor than it is chaff. You know, it's something to protect you and what you're trying to do in the follow-up turn. But yeah,
Now-
anything can be used to throw away if it allows you to win the game. You know.
So if you're Paige, what is going through your mind right now when you're looking at your left now with those two beasts of nature? In this,
crap. that's going through my mind right now. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe Paige is a little more calm and calculating than I am.
And that's the thing he has to do here. He has to find where on the board he has an advantage he can press, and press there, because there's some bad stuff going on his.
Because it's not on that left flank. Got it.
I mean, I don't know. You always look. It's like that's bad. Yes, especially that second one that's looking down his whole line. So it's about not giving it good charges, closing gaps, punishing any charges it does do. The problem is those are beasts of nature. I know that seems sort of obvious, but what are they really doing on a flank? They do nasty stuff. 14 attacks on 3s. So
Crushing 2 and vicious.
Crushing 2 with vicious. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, vicious. So I think Paige is actually deciding if he wants to use his unicorn as chef to try to disorder maybe the beast of nature. At least you can get it grounded. It does have the blade of slashing. 3 attacks. CS1, TC2. It's a good chance. But the water elementals, they don't have Pathfinder, so they can't double out of the forest. I mean, they can't double anyway. I mean, yeah, they are shambling.
Yeah.
So he'll probably have just moved them up and pivot. Probably he has to turn his Forsaken to, he has to decide whether Forsaken wants to go in the middle or deal with the piece of nature on the left.
is anyone in arc, or is anyone in range of the Forsaken?
Let's take a look.
I think only the woodland critters.
Especially
18,
now.
19.
Especially now with him shuffling that horde.
So yeah, the woodland critters on our left are barely in range.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know that this is the right play yet, but sometimes when you have stuff looking down your flanks and side like that, the best thing to do is just not be there anymore.
Yeah.
Just fly away.
Right,
Hit
and that's
the
what I'm
go.
saying. That's he's putting the go button on Page. Like, I don't care what you're doing, but you're not staying here.
This happened in the game between Elliot with his Order of the Green Lady against, I want to say, Shannon Salamanders, where Shannon got some stuff sort of behind his lines, and then there was a turn where Elliot just said, charge everything. And basically everything in his army threw itself into units and started killing. The problem is on the side here is the stuff he can throw into is earth elementals with hindered charges, unless you're water elementals. And the battle line is still very intact, and there are pieces of nature lurking around the sides to punish.
Right.
So we'll see, but from Page's side, or actually from Keith's side, what he has to make sure is, as he's maneuvering right now, he has to be in a position where he very really could expect everything that can charge from Page's side doing it. So,
because like you said, both those beasts of nature, 2 of those is 410 points, right? And Paige has got way more points on that side. So we talk about points trading, but it could also be, doesn't have to be points trading in what's dying, but how many points am I trying to utilize to get rid of the same or less points from you? So if he could spend a turn trying to face those 2 beats of nature with so many points, and even if there's no fighting, Paige is winning at that point, right? Because he's causing such a amount of those points to react to those 2 beats.
Keith is winning, or
yeah, sorry,
Keith.
No, Keith is winning. So,
Right.
In regards to what you're saying, is that makes sense? Is like, does he just totally bail and say, I'm not even going to try to respond to those at all? I'm just moving out of the way.
And I like that more when it was just the one beast, but that second one has such a good arc that he's gotta just throw himself into bad attacks to get out of it.
Yeah.
And that's only saving you for a round, because those will
Because they're just going to turn right upfield and head back in. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, that second one is not in the turn before the turn. Before the turn is right now for that one.
All right. I mean, you thought 14 attacks on 3s with Crush 2 was bad. 21. on 3s.
Oh, yeah. You don't want that in your rear.
So this is another one I'm sure I'll regret saying, but yeah, it's always worse in the rear.
Mm-hmm. And then looks like again, just Keith playing super defensive, just setting up. I think he's probably looking at frontage sizes, trying to denying multiple charges, trying to, like you said, just prepare for when he's going to take the first punch.
Right. I mean, he's placing that Earth Elemental Horde just in case one of those units charges and bounces that Beast of Nature's in the flank. And
It's not even at this point setting a trap. It's just like Paige has to know going in there is going to be bad. He's just trying to make sure there's no clever, tricky Brotherhood stuff that could get pulled off to make it bad.
So Keith is going to shooting.
it's a tarp.
Still going to be putting damage into that Order of Forsaken.
I mean, if he
So
can get
now
a
he's
waiver,
giving
that would be amazing.
He's giving him cover again.
Yeah,
he backed up. He's doing the safe play where he backed him up out of range to do cover shots, right?
Mhm.
So
No wounds so far.
Yeah. Oof,
No wounds at all.
That's good.
there you go.
That's good for Paige, because if he had gotten a waiver, that'd have been nasty.
Yeah, he definitely needed some love there in that shooting phase.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
top.
Paige strong, but yeah. So let's see how Paige reacts to the left flank.
What left flank?
What
Well, that's really
whatever's
interesting.
left.
That's really what makes a great player is how do they react to stuff like this?
Yeah. And not tilting. And not freaking out and not doing the sort of like, I'm going to turn something to face it. Oh, it just flew around me. Damn it.
Right.
Like, so here it is. He's spawning proxies and he's seeing what he can throw in to get good charges.
Which is really awesome about about UBs being able to spawn those proxies just to be able to.
Yep.
Well, we talked about it. This is, again, I think, an aspect of UB that goes towards benefiting those analytical type players because he can I know a lot of players play with empty bases and would do something like akin to this on the tabletop, but now there's no clock to worry about, right? So you can just set up all your units, take as much time as you need.
Yeah, so he's worried about the counter charges after getting rid of the critters.
Yeah.
But he probably used the Pegasus on the right flank to just get in the way of the Earth Elementals. Then he probably the horde of knights, they have to choose which one they have to charge, which you need to charge.
Yeah, the knights get to blow something up. It's just
Yeah, but which one?
Right. That's where Paige would then have to, after the post-combat actions, figure out what goes forward. Because something's going to die. It's just a matter
Yeah, I mean, he has to use one of his knight regiments or the water elemental horde as like chef in a way. Like
it's going to have to be one of those knight regiments. Because I don't think those water elementals can get in a position to chaff that up.
Ooh, Pegasus flew over the top. Keith
Get range?
left. Is he in range?
Let's take a look.
It only moved.
Well, it does have range on the Night Horde.
Right.
Yeah, it does. And Keith left a gap big enough.
Oh, just big enough on that side.
Yes.
I don't love that at all from Keith. That those used to be in a line.
They were.
Yeah.
The fact that he angled it that tiny bit let a Pegasus in, and
It's naughty Pegasus.
And look, I mean, we're razor thin on how much.
Yes.
yeah, but it's the fact that he turned them, like he made that gap.
Yeah, they weren't. That gap wasn't there. Yeah. Well,
Matt,
I blame his infant son for that one. That's really his infant son tilted the unit, and
So
be the first of many times his son will ruin his fun for him. Trust me, I would.
Speaking from experience, Felix.
Just maybe.
Mhm.
Just maybe.
So, I'm for the record about to eat my second birthday donut.
Mhm.
Wow.
Delicious
Yeah, delicioso.
and nutritious.
But
Is
I
it
mean,
your?
that's actually a really good play from Paige because I mean, Pegasus is likely to die anyway. But if he can blow up those two
Yeah.
critters, that is
Yep,
really
he's fine.
good.
The issue with it is, what do you do about the earth elementals?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know, pivot the. Well, if you do the reform action, if those units both die, you push them up forward, and then you pivot the water elementals in a way to kind of prevent maybe the flank. But yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. It's
And then if there's anything overhanging,
Yeah.
can we check the arc on that beast of nature for Keith on the
On the
far
far right.
right?
So it looks like right now it has. Let's see. It might have arc on all three of those units. Definitely on the middle and far right.
So the issue is because we have sort of different widths and different stuff.
Right. That makes it tough to prevent.
My assumption is that the water elementals are going to try and pivot and protect that flank from everything,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
it might be hard.
Right.
Matt Croucher just asked, "Am I topless?"
Yeah.
I mean,
It
the
is,
answer
it
is
is your
course,
birthday, right?
but,
Who knows what's going on your birthday?
I wear a non-black shirt for like the first time in 2 months, and I'd get called topless. This is the world we're living in.
Matt, it's called a birthday suit for a reason. So, you know.
I'm wearing a gray shirt that is a tribute.
Natural.
One of the greatest shows of recent history that people may or may not have watched, called The Detectorists. It is a very small, quiet British show, but it is amazing. So, and I think it has a lot of parallels to wargaming.
How's like diners, drive-ins, and dives?
Oh, don't you start with me.
Okay, so we're
Going to
top.
Flavor Town.
We're top of 3, right? But do you have any sort of feeling in your stomach now, looking at where Keith's push tokens are and where Paige's push tokens are?
Like it's the thing I was saying earlier is that I am now not seeing a world in which that regiment of infantry is getting over the center line. It's going to look real tough.
Yeah.
So now he's just trying to murder enough stuff to own the middle, and either just own the middle and win, which is also looking a little dicey, but we'll see. A lot of stuff will blow up next turn, or kill that infantry horde.
Yeah, I think Ashley brings up a good point, right? Just kill. Maybe Keith is just going to kill the Paige's token holders and then not even worry about getting across the board at that point.
Yeah, that's just it's a lot of nerve to kill.
Yeah. And Keith doesn't have much to handle it except for shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Because his horde is going to get occupied with the Redemption and the Brotherhood in the middle. And yeah.
Yeah, no, that could be multiple turns. That all that kind of collection of 5 or 6 units stay there for the majority of the game.
Yes.
So I was at UC Berkeley a few years back, and we started a rumor that got picked up by sadly credible sources that Guy Fieri was going to be our commencement speaker.
Love it.
Like enough to put like fake posters around the campus and stuff, and the slogan was like Guy Fieri as commencement speaker because fuck you. So I have a special place in my heart for the hatred of Guy Fieri because it made so many people like rage.
Doesn't it? It's funny. I don't know. I happen to like him, but that's just personal taste and stuff like that.
So what do you think's going through Paige's head with his order of Forsaken? They got 4 damage on him. They're hurting. They got those beasts of nature in really tough spots. What do you think he's thinking now?
I mean, honestly, he's looking to see if he can maybe do something about the Beast of Nature. I mean, I've got the speed. I was spared by 0 wounds the last turn of shooting. I'm moving them suckers up just to,
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah, I
trying
mean-
to get them in the forest to get cover, but I don't think he can fit to get
Mhm.
cover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would push them up as far up as I could.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you were basically given, a governor's, respite. The governor called. You're not dying right now. So, I would get the hell out of Dodge and let those beasts of nature maybe chew on something. I don't know, but
And Matt Croger brings up a good point that in the scoring system, you just need the tokens. You don't necessarily need to get them across. So that is something to keep in mind.
right, you don't get as much points for having it not across.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is about just winning the scenario. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
like you need it's not about max points. It's about right now. Keith has 2 points if the game were to end, and Paige is looking at. It looks like just about 5 points, depending on where the toe of that.
Yeah,
Horrible.
probably just shy of being fully across, but yeah.
Now I know a lot is going to change between now and then, but the fact that this big set of fights is about to happen almost in the deployment zone at Keith might matter. I think it's a long shot, but it might matter.
So-
he's faced Page has faced his Earth Elemental slightly to the left.
So, how far? So I know he moved up that infantry, the retainers horde.
Yep.
How
Yep.
far are they from the unicorns right now after this move?
I think about
Yeah.
12.
Okay, so just out being able to charge next turn. So, I mean, there might be some utility in giving them the Forsaken Horde to shoot at. So then, the next turn they're up in their grill to start hitting unicorns.
Die, little ponies, die.
Well, I mean, like we say, everything is chaff. I mean, if it's the same for melee, shouldn't it be the same for shooting? Like, if you're just offering that thing to get shot at for 4
Yeah,
turns.
I mean, there's definitely a part of me that thinks you just go, and the thing you have to kill is the Night Horde.
yeah.
And you can-
Everything
if you
else
can-
is sort of, kind of by the wayside. So, yeah, it looks like
Well,
he's
but-
taking that Pegasus into that one beast of nature that he could actually see.
Yep.
That's his plan, looks like.
Because honestly, what's the unit of pages that's in the dead center right now, sitting on the token?
Earth Elementals.
Yeah,
Right.
Earth Elemental.
So, if he can keep a token with the Earth Elementals, and he can keep 2 tokens on that nerve block, and vaguely protect them, like stop the Night Horde, those Earth Elementals from Keith, they don't get there. Like there's a lot.
Way
between them
too
and
far.
Mhm.
What's the distance on that? The beast of nature on the far right of Keith's to the
It's
Earth
out.
Elemental Horde. Is it out? Is out of the range for
Yeah.
the Earth Elemental Horde?
Yeah. Yeah, by a fair amount.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's something there. I mean, I don't always love this plan, especially if there's a turn 7. But like, you can lose everything in your army if those 2 units are there at the end of the game. You win.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and if you need to protect 2 units, those are sort of 2 of the ones I would pick. So whatever the Forsaken can do, whether that's plow forward to get a charge on the knights in a future turn. I don't love turning them because I feel like what the
Wow.
Or
Nice,
there's
great.
that, whatever. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was looking at earlier.
Mhm.
We looked at that earlier, and they were toe in, and it's like
Yeah.
just get them out of there. And
That is a way to push them forward, right? I mean, you just get them completely out of even dealing with those beasts of nature.
what matters now is whether that Night Horde gets because the main thing is you don't want the Night Horde to be able to do anything better than kill that Pegasus.
Yeah, because then you start thinking about, well, when the Night Horde, if it disengages, how can it pivot, or
Mhm.
But then, I mean, just anything. If
So
he wants to move that Night Horde backwards at all, right? He's again moving that regiment back.
Yes, the regiment. The Nighthawk is basically like sandwiched between his own units.
Right, because
So
the
there's
regular
a
can only go
question-
back 2.5 inches, and so it can only go back 2.5 inches, and maybe
Yeah.
pivot if it's lucky.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I don't like where that Knight regiment. I mean, I guess he probably was thinking that force would be coming in from his right flank, so that's why he put the regiment on the left-hand side of that Knight horde. But like, he can't even pivot now to allow that Knight regiment or that retainer regiment to move forward or whatever.
Yeah, but those guys can peace out. They can.
Right, but they can only go so far without the pivot.
Yeah, but they're like, part of me is thinking that Knight Regiment is now just in stay safe mode. They've given up all hope of getting across the board and are now just
Right.
stay safe, punch something.
They're Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Survive.
An interesting point Brenly is bringing up from the chat that is true around these giant hordes, especially where Paige is engaged with it. It's going to have some ability to engage other units just by pivoting.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Its
So
center
big.
swing point is in the middle and not engaged with anything, so it can just sort of. And Paige will have to be really careful about that when he repositions after blowing up the forest creatures, not
And I
to
think-
allow that Knight horde to charge something useful by just sort of pivoting. I'm making motions with my hands, which is absolutely useless for
And
everyone
that's
else.
really what he was doing, right? He put the Order of Forsaken Horde up there, and I think was going through some possible reforms. Of
Right.
where would he be?
I feel like, as I imagine Paige playing this game, he's like Doctor Strange in the Infinity War. He's like imagining 1,000 possible
And there's
futures.
just one that will make him win.
Where's the one future I get out of this? There it is.
Exactly.
Well, they call him the Count of Calculations. I've just trademarked that.
There you go.
What?
Page,
The Hill Drew Humbler, the Trace
Yes.
Compactor.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That is a new nickname going in the King's Ward chat, and he can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Trace Compactor is, if no one's used that with his last name before, I am sad for the world because that's amazing.
Let's see. He doesn't have one yet. Sweet.
Courtesy of Alex Coos, that name was. So.
The good dude with sketchy taste in bands.
Mm-hmm.
And movies,
Okay.
apparently. He doesn't like the movie Grease. Come on.
So it looks like he's still kind of trying to work on what he wants to do with this Forsaken.
Yep.
Looks like he did take the unicorn to try to ground the beast.
Yep.
Now the real question is, do we have Jeopardy music queued up, and are you in a voice chat with Paige right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can we?
Even in basketball and football, there's a play clock. You gotta.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Mm-hmm.
There should be like a yellow flag thing that just goes in. It's like, delay a game. I'll stop them.
Chief's baby's gonna go to sleep, wake up, go back to sleep, wake up again, go back to
Graduate from
sleep.
high school,
Uh-huh.
possibly
It's
go to college.
gonna be in kindergarten.
Yeah, get married,
We have the
have a kid of our own.
Dash 28 live turn counter at the top. We're also going to need like a years of our life counter.
I mean, to be fair, this whole situation in the world has basically made time irrelevant. So
I can start work on my new diet. I'm just gonna go do some push-ups. I'm gonna go get on the exercise bike. I'll come back.
ain't nobody got time for that.
Mhm.
But
Dude, I tried to order kettlebells online, and they're sold out all over the place. So somewhere other than my house, there's a bunch of people getting prison hinge without me. It's like a world.
As you do.
If anyone has kettlebells they want to send me, get on it.
He's going to combat.
Go to
holy
combat
crap.
finally.
Well, yeah, because his one shooting thing is in combat now. So
Yeah. So he basically just turned and faced the Order of Forsaken to the.
He's hoping he grounds that sucker.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah,
the,
he did.
Got the damage.
Got it.
Yeah, you got 2 damage. Oh, one damage actually.
Yeah, just 1 damage.
That's 1 damage. Yeah, slashing failed. So now the Pegasus.
Against the
2
knights.
hits. 2 wounds. 2 wounds.
Knocked off that Thunders. It's all that matters. Not really. But
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
him just being there is really all that matters. But
Yep. In the way.
And Keith does have Bane Chant on his Druid, so that Night Horde, if it needs it,
it's already
can
got
be
crush
back at
on, so
yeah, it can be up to Crush 2.
Right.
I don't know that it needs it against the Pegasus, but
yeah, 3s and 3s. That's a bit overkill. I'm sure you could probably use it on something else.
Yeah.
So that Force Critters Regiment's gone.
oh god, what a double one here would be hilarious.
I mean, I would laugh and go get another drink. Although
so
I might
not
just
much of a reform there. He's just keeping it forward.
Yeah.
And do bear in mind that there are
Well, that's the one that's
multiple
kind of out of the range of the
Yes. So
beast feature. So
doesn't have to worry about it.
okay, no double one. So
okay. Let's see which reality the Count has picked for his future on this.
Mhm.
just FYI, Jeremy, there's not enough room in the nickname for all 3 of those nicknames. So I just
Oh well,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
We'll trace come back here.
It looks like he just passed the turn and was like gonna leave it facing that way.
Ooh,
So
ooh,
that's
Oof.
interesting.
that's bad,
Oh.
I'm surprised by that.
right? Aren't we looking at a rear charge from the beast or a flank charge from the Beast of Nature on the Sharpness Knights in the middle? Because that back's hanging out on them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I
Let's,
think so.
so it is in range.
Yeah,
It's
he's
flank.
got line of sight. He's taller than them.
I'm trying to think. Is there a reason why he would want that? I mean, he does have his Beast of Nature protecting that flank.
Doesn't
If he
matter. He can flank the water elementals with earth elementals. He can charge the flank and possibly even pivot with his engaged knights.
I'm not sure he can unless he moves those. I guess you would have to move the retainers out, but
Yeah, the retainers piece out somewhere. That's fine.
Yeah.
But
2.5 inches significant enough though to be able to give them.
I would
that.
like to think so.
I see what you did there, Jeremy.
Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, he forgot to reform.
Okay, I was just gonna say that.
okay. I was like, woo,
What
He
was
forgot.
going on?
that's a little better.
that was like weird. That was a very weird, like,
That was a bold
Yeah.
move, Cotton.
I'm just gonna leave it.
Oh my god!
Felix goes to change his nickname in the chat.
I gotta summon my inner Dan Miner. That's called the Oko, eh? I love
Yeah.
The Oko.
Oko, eh?
ESPN.
When he called it the Oko,
Yes,
I almost
yeah, yeah.
lost my shit.
Oko.
The Oko, eh?
Wow.
Don't you know?
Don't you know, ya hoser? I was hoping this one drink would be fine for the majority of the game, but we're like bottom of 3. I still probably just need to get a new one.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
Settle in, get comfy,
I know, right?
look up some jokes. I don't know, whatever you need to do to get through it.
Start working on my Abyssal Dwarf army. Maybe finish it.
Seriously.
Video. So Keith is looking to see what he can do here with a disengage.
So pivot on the. Oh.
Nah, I think it's still Page turn.
Oh, so Paige was seeing.
Yeah, I
where
think he's
when
still.
Yeah.
Mhm. So
Paige was
Paige
trying to
wanted
see
make sure. Got it.
what kind of pivot shenanigans can happen.
So that's smart.
He's checking it out. We're seeing the future realities here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, like earlier on in the commentary, I mean, he's gonna have to sacrifice potentially one of them.
Yeah,
So
the-
which do you give
One
up?
of them.
The water elementals die. We know this.
They're dead.
Basically. I mean, we're basically looking at what's a 2.5 side step from the Earth elementals. Oh, if he had stayed that way. Never mind. How about I stop talking until he? No, that's not a good.
I mean,
plan
you're
either.
talking one, if not two, horde
I'll just stay.
being hindered.
Oh, so he is just going to stay.
He's just staying.
That's interesting.
I don't necessarily love that, but
And Keith is like, I gotta do it.
In we go.
Why?
I mean, he is the count of calculations, so I don't know.
The Beast of Nature should be able. I'm not sure if it can break the Knight Regiment with a flank charge.
Yeah, but well, there's some stuff here that I'm not sure I would necessarily. Are we sure those knights can't pivot and move in if they back up? And
Well, now that he didn't move them at all, we don't know because he was checking based on if he had like pivoted the Brew of Sharpness order. So those knights may have been able to get by. But maybe he thinks he doesn't even need to. Maybe that's what Keith is thinking.
yeah, because he has his own unicorns to fly in and do the same thing, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just get in the middle. Like we know 50 mil works in there, so you can get in there and gum up the works.
I mean, I might as well start pronouncing the letter L in salmon because nothing matters anymore because I don't know what the hell's going on. Why would you do that?
It's one of those things where you have so many options. You say, whatever I do, don't do this. And you think about all 99 options. And then what do? You do the one thing that you told yourself in the beginning, like, don't do that. It's like the analysis paralysis.
Right.
I wonder if that was a little bit going on in Paige's mind there.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of filthy stuff that's going to happen right after that water elemental horde gets blown up. It's a question on like if he countercharges the Pegasus, he slides over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is sliding over putting him in a better or worse position? Does he want to prevent that?
Is it a flank charge by the?
By the unicorn?
Ooh, what?
I mean, it's got the height, right?
And it's
Oh,
in the flank.
Yep, it's in the flank.
So, what's the distance? Well, I guess problem is if the Night Horde just shifts over, what's the distance between that Order Forsaken Horde and the? I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I have a
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, if he shifts over, that's putting them in the charge range because they got the height to be able to see over the hill. So
yeah. Where's Keith's second Forsaken? Did he just get it out at Dodge? Where in the forest, the one that got punched in the face? I think I see it now.
Oh, the Beast of Nature, you mean?
he's charging. He's charging the.
Okay.
That's a good move.
Yeah,
I
the
would
Beast
definitely-
has gone into the.
I would
Order.
definitely go to avoid. You just forget about it. Just lock him down.
So that's-
Other beasts of nature, 45 degrees to the left. So now you're looking down the flank or backside of everything in Paige's army.
Is there a reason that second Earth Elemental didn't go into the side of the Water Elementals? I know he can surge it in. I just didn't know if there was a.
Maybe he's like, you know what? I paid for Surge. I might as well use it. Just like,
This is what happened if you. Imagine if he rolls.
damn it! I
zeros.
bought
Did
the
he-
damn thing.
I'm guessing he maybe didn't have Arc on them at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So
I mean, in casual games, I've certainly done the whole like, well, I've paid for this item. God damn it, I'm going to use it.
So we kind of saw this Beast of Nature charge. What do we think about this Pegasus sort of sneaking in for the other flank?
I think it's just bonus damage. I think he
Yeah,
was
'cause
going to
it's-
fly it in there to block anyways, and
That's
now
like- that's what, 6 attacks on 3s and 6 attacks on 3s and
Yeah.
3s.
Trees it. Yep.
So Tom says in the chat, Tom Anna says that it didn't have arc, so that's why it's set up the Earth Elemental.
Yeah.
Of course, Tom is in the chat. Mo, don't say those sort of things about Tom Annis. Gosh.
So basically, you're thinking the Pegasus is doing something it wanted to do anyway, which is get in the way, and now it's adding it a little extra damage.
yeah, like the unicorn wants to get in the middle of that garbage and block units up. So the thought is that the Earth Elemental sidestep when he surges the other Earth Elementals into the Water Elementals. He sidesteps the ones that are already engaged after winning to block the part of the knights next to them. And then the Pegasus is over there blocking any other tricky maneuvers. The second one, and it's also engaged on 2 flanks, so it can't disengage. And that keeps it from pretty much getting a lot of options. So I think it wanted to get in there and gum stuff up anyways. And the fact that it gets a flank charge is just sort of like bonus material.
Extra bonus.
Yeah.
That will keep on Tuesdays. So
And I
now
hate,
that
I am very much against unicorns flying or not in general. I'm deathly afraid of horses in real life, and a unicorn is just a horse with a shiv, like a prison shank. I'm not a fan. I don't trust narwhals either. Just saying.
Right on.
Ashley says she can probably watch our beards grow at this rate with the game. So got that going for us. Let's see.
So I think Keith is really trying to kind of what we talked about in the beginning of the game, right? Which is once Paige took that initial shooting, we knew he was probably going to be the charged instigator, and then Keith had to think about how do I set up my counter punch, really get the most out of my defensive units. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, it looks like Keith is getting a nice little board position right there in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved it more if that Pegasus hadn't snuck in, and the Knights had a little more ability to charge what they wanted from Keith's side. But I mean, he's definitely, I believe, in a position to punish right now. Like he lost forest critters and is picking up better stuff. So,
well, that's really been Keith's main unforced error, right? Was allowing that bit for that Night Horde to get charged when he didn't.
I mean, unless I'm not smart enough to know what that gained him, it felt like an error.
Yeah, and it could not be. You know, like you said, you guys talk about all the time when you cast these games is that we're not inside their heads. What do we know? You know what I mean? We're just throwing our darts at the stock board. You know, so
random guesses, basically.
I mean, that's what I do just even on the table in my own game. So you know.
Well, I knew that.
So, question: now that we've kind of seen how he's responded to what Paige did with his Order Forsaken, what do we think of him not actually just GTFOing and actually?
So I like
get grounded. I guess.
I mean, there's other options, but I like the grounded beast going into them to ground them.
So Keith is going to his shooting too, by the way,
and possibly like they have 4 damage on him. He could
potentially
pop
do
away
enough
for
to
them.
waiver, yeah. I just like
yeah.
the thought of getting them out of there. You know, you could still hit it with the Pegasus, and then it doesn't have much to react. You know,
so he did get the surge off. So hindered coming over the obstacle.
Yeah, so I like that one going in because it sits them down, and if they weren't sat down, because they have good range, good height, and good line of sight, they could come over and influence that center battle pretty quickly and dangerously. So
but I'm
sit
just
them
curious
down.
why he just didn't do that last turn. Just move them up out of the way so they don't get charged by anything.
I don't like that the Forsaken stuck around. I would have loved them to have moved anywhere but there. So
Right.
I've been asked my opinion on centaurs.
You don't like
And I-
unicorns. What do you think about centaurs? I guess.
I'm generally okay with horse body, human top. I'm definitely not okay with horse top, human body.
Such a
What the
species.
hell is horse top human body anyway?
Yeah, I know.
Reverse
Look up-
centaur.
Yeah, a reverse
Don't
car.
Don't look up reverse centaur with safe search off. That's all I'm saying.
A Tarzan. Oh, geez, Louise.
Nobody likes reverse centaur.
Okay,
I have a story about that, but it's
Yeah.
not PG enough for
So
the
he
stream.
put some damage on that Pegasus, but it looks like that
Yeah.
3 was the nerve roll. So,
yep, the Pegasus is fine.
but still 5 damage is not nothing.
Right.
So it's the horse race you don't like, Brendan.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's not a big fan of horses. I think he mentioned that earlier.
Wow. 4 damage.
I'm legitimately afraid of them. I know everyone will make fun of me, but I'm irrationally afraid of horses. I don't even like driving behind horse trailers on the freeway because all I can imagine is one jumping out and through my windshield and somehow living and laughing at me.
What the hell kind of weird version of Final Destination did you watch? That would be.
Yeah, it was a kid's thing. I was at Knott's Berry Farm on a pony ride, and my pony decided it wasn't about that life, and jumped the fence and just started running around. So
Fair. Yeah.
mooses, I don't care about, Brandley. It's irrational. It is actually horses that bother me.
Ooh, the water elementals they have a good chance of staying.
8, 14. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah,
It looks like
fine.
they are fine.
The gaff.
So, I mean, that will give Page's Beast of Nature something to do, but still,
Yep.
not going to pick up Earth Elementals in the flank with a Beast of Nature.
No.
So here's the irrational part, Sean. I apologize to keep on my horse fixation. I'm not actually scared of them like throwing me off them because I won't get on one or kicking me. I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm vaguely afraid that they just don't like me and would like take my wallet. I'm very distrustful of horses. And it's not their fault. Horses are wonderful animals. I just don't want to be around them.
Does that waiver that regiment of Redemption Knights, or are they fine? Are they 15, 17?
Yep.
They're
fine.
yeah.
On a nerve
So
roll, 14,
it-
they're fine. Yeah. Strip their Thunderous, but
He has big chance, but UP dice. Hashtag UP dice.
yes.
32. So it's the dead Pegasus, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
As one would expect.
Oh, night.
So what we have now is interesting that he's still got his right?
Well, that's nice with the Pegasus, because even if the unit didn't die, but the Pegasus is still in the way. So that's,
Well, it's engaged, so it can't disengage, right? It's engaged on two flanks. Am I getting that rule right, or am I making things up in my mind again?
No, you're right. You're right.
What are you talking about? If this is engaged, the unicorn is engaged.
No, the Order of Redemption in the middle with the 8 on it cannot
you mean
disengage and just
the Order
plow
of
forward.
Brotherhood? The Order
Yeah,
of Brotherhood.
Order of Brotherhood, sorry. Yeah.
So they can't do the withdrawal maneuver, but they can still charge the Knight Horde, right?
I don't think so. Oh, okay. It
think
can
it can.
disengage, it can't withdraw.
but that's not a
Yes.
withdrawal, though. That's just disengaging, right?
No, it means that you couldn't issue it the free withdrawal move before issuing in a movement order because
Right.
it's engaged on both sides, but you can still issue a charge order and then it would disengage via the charge order and then charge.
So I don't know that it wants it, but can it just charge the Night Horde?
That's
That's
what
what
we're
I'm
saying.
thinking. Yeah,
Mhm.
it just goes forward since there's nothing to its front to block it. It just
It
goes.
can
here's
if
the
he
thing.
wants to.
Here's the thing. If Keith did not have that infantry regiment nuts to butts on it, right?
Mhm.
He could pivot slightly, and then that would not allow any room for a charge
Right.
Yes.
with the Night Horde. But
Yep.
because he has his infantry regiment nuts to butts, it's not a possibility for him. I don't know that it's a good move. You know, sharpness, unless they get Bane Chanted, even if their Bane Chanted isn't going to break the Night Horde. But I always just like.
I
I'm one of those
I
people
think he wants to try.
The other one is, can he flank the elementals? No, it doesn't look like he
With
fit. No, he won't fit. I couldn't tell if they were flush with the other side, but
got it. So it looks like he's bringing in. We're going to have a Beast of Nature on Beast of Nature action.
okay. So an update.
Is Unicorn when charging into another Unicorn?
Yeah, it looks like he took his
Yeah.
just to shut down some lightning bolt.
So are we top of 4?
Oh
Is that
yes,
what's happening?
let me bring that.
Finally. We're halfway there.
I know I got lulled into sleep with this pace of this game. I was kidding.
And I'll promise to stop talking about my fear of horses. It's already, I'm sure, triggered Sean multiple times.
Well, you know, we're keeping the chat engaged, enthralled, interested, maybe a little
It's
nervous.
one of, I don't know if anyone does the like 2 truths and a lie, but whenever I join a new company, I do the 2 truths and a lie in my introductory email, and my irrational fear of horses is one of them. So it comes up. Oh,
So
guess he wants it.
yeah, it must. I mean, the Night Regiment's gonna die anyway, so why not put something?
Yeah, I think they're dead, right? So he's trying to think about where can I get the most value out of them in one turn before they're dead.
Yep. Because the Night Horde has taken 2 damage, right? But I think he used the water. Did he use the Sacred Water?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah, he used the Sacred Water. Heal back up. So
And it's again, it's him, Page, keeping those tokens back, keeping those units back, and keeping things away from his horde that could kill. Because really, that Night Horde is one of the things that Keith has that can actually, if in the open, could get over there to do damage on Page's infantry horde, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. The Night Horde is the only hammer, I would say,
Yeah.
in the army. It'd be interesting to see whether the Beast of Nature that's in combat with the other Beast of Nature, whether it can be taken out
Yeah.
this turn. Then the Order Forsaken can get in the fight at least.
Yes.
They can pivot. They pivot, then they can go. Ooh.
And be in a position where they could actually threaten something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the men at arms are charging, are they?
Moving at the double, maybe.
I think they're just moving up to threaten.
Yeah. Well, they'll get thunderous charge when you're on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Still has the Pegasus to move, so the Pegasus could probably charge all the knights, or maybe the other Pegasus, the other unicorn. it's confusing. The Pegasus and the Unicorn, they kind of look the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another reason why Brenton doesn't like either horse-related animals.
Yeah.
Too similar.
And then that horde of earth elementals, with the other token, do you just kind of keep moving those across into the other side of the board and just like
Yeah.
come at
Far
me, bro?
away.
I feel like there's I don't know how it'll work out, but you keep chaffing up and just throwing, it's not even chaffing up at this point, but throwing units at people in that center, and you eventually have a unhurt horde of infantry coming in, or staying away if it needs to, but really just trying to be safe. And you've got 3 tokens, and 2 of them are double points.
Yeah.
We're at the top of 4.
Yeah.
There's potentially only a couple opportunities.
I don't see that regiment of knights holding tokens getting across the board. That's just it's just not going to happen.
Oh, they're not. They're not. What I'm looking at is, can he just keep feeding that night horde things
Stuff.
And just keep
and just get away. Just hold 3 tokens, and like part of me is like, stop even moving that infantry horde towards the knights and just get them away. Head for open ground.
Yeah. Because when you think about just how many more combats it's going to take before that night horde would even be in a position to charge, where we are at the game, I just don't see it. And then not only that, then it's like he's going to have just an extra token on that horde of earth elementals that's not getting touched by anything really in this game.
Part of me is just top left, just point that way and go.
Just point that regiment, that horde of infantry as I use my hands that no one can really see.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad play to just pivot and then just go, just book it.
Right.
And
so
you've got
from the viewer's way that way.
Yeah.
You've got a beast of nature that's on your ass.
It's like a dance.
Yeah. So you cover them.
Yeah.
Like you cover it with the earth elementals or something else, because it's gonna get. But that beast of nature is not breaking your horde in one turn, so.
I think if you move the infantry horde towards the middle, you're now creating an opportunity for wacky things to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas like Tom says it in the chat too, he agrees with you, Britton. Where instead, if you just turn left, I think you're cutting away a possibility for variance in that you're not even.
You can throw that. Suddenly that water elemental regiment starts to become relevant again because it can be a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
It just. Get out of there. Get out of there and keep them barely on that side of the board, and you've got 4 points, and you're looking at 3 from the other side at best. So maybe 4 for a draw if you can somehow get that center token back and across the board. But those earth elementals on the flank, if you get away from them, they're never catching anything in the rest of this game.
Nope.
So.
Especially when they're going to be in combat another turn or 2 before. Yeah, they're there for the remainder of the game.
Just throw away the entire rest of your army and have those 2 units left at the end sitting pretty.
I like I really like that idea of pivoting the horde, moving, and then sort of just swapping, getting the water elementals on their backside, because then just in case they get free, you have a blocker unit.
Yeah, the main thing you have to worry about is there is a beast of nature with great arcs sitting in your backfield.
Yeah.
And 21 attacks on 3s and 3s is not friendly. But it might be what you have to take if you can set up a counter charge to kill it.
Right. So where was his unicorn? Is his unicorn the one that's attacking the night horde, or which one's his unicorn?
So we have a Pegasus here. We have a unicorn
Unicorn's
here.
in the middle. Okay, so he's got his inspiring in the middle there, which is good.
Yep.
Oh no, that's Keith's unicorn. Where's Paige's unicorn?
Paige's unicorn is into the unicorn on this other side.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Unicorn and wing unicorn action. Page has the Order of Redemption. They are inspiring.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, Tom's talking. Tom in the chat talking about he's taking a fun theme list. His theme is
Kill
heavy
all the-
mortars,
Oh.
heavy mortars, and defense 6 golems. That's
I
his
mean,
theme.
that's thematic.
Mhm.
You know.
Fucking. So do we believe Tom, or is it mind games?
Who knows? I still think that maybe I half of me thinks that Tom and I are buddies, and the other half of me think he has me in this long con that at some point he's going to reveal himself, to get me somehow. So who knows?
I mean, you're probably
Well,
not.
Yeah.
So I always feel like when someone's like, I'm going to take a fun theme list, it's like accomplishing one of two things. It's making me think they're not going to bring some terrible edge of the meta scary thing and maybe let my guard down a little, so it's mind games, or it is protecting themselves from embarrassment. It's like, I'm going to take a fun theme list so when I lose and everyone's watching, it doesn't matter. So my thing is, like, I don't believe that as an excuse. If you take a theme list and you get your shit pushed in, that's on you, Tom.
Mhm. So it looks like Paige is sort of deciding what he wants to do with these his middle units still.
The Beast of Nature is basically extending the game by another half an hour.
Now,
We'd be as lucky if it's only a half an hour. Just saying.
Mo, you play with Paige. You're from Singapore too, right? So you guys play in person. Is he slow in person too, or is it like a UB thing?
It's more of a UB thing.
Okay.
I have to apologize because I'm the one who actually taught Paige. I mean, who convinced Paige to
Oh,
go.
so we know who to blame. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all my fault.
I like how you're already apologizing for that. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I taught him how to play.
I taught him
Yeah, I
everything
mean,
he knows.
I didn't really teach him, but yeah, he's we used to play fantasy back in the day. Then he used to play Skaven, believe it or not.
Well, yeah, I remember him playing Ratkin.
Yeah, Ratkin, yeah.
For a while.
Then he wanted to go full Mantic. His army is a lot of it is based on what Mantic models he can get.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, I think he's deciding where his elementals go. But in real life, he's fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a tournament in January. He didn't time out. We had about an hour each player for each game.
Wow.
So here we are, top of 4. Keith had that really nice placement where he got a couple of Beasts of Nature in real tough spots, which hasn't quite really played out. He still has that one in the bottom of the screen with great arc. But what do you think now is going through Keith's mind as he sees, okay, in top of 4, he realizes the game is on the home stretch? What do you think he's thinking right now?
Why am I not playing elves? I think is what he's thinking right now. Yeah, I don't know, because this got those hallmarks of, I mean, albeit slower paced, but a good game. Whereas that punch counter punch, and just like, ooh, that was a good play, Keith. Ooh, that was a good play. Play Paige. So it's kind of see like what. We'll see what the result of this combat. If I don't think he's going to be able to pick off anything, but he can severely lose stuff.
Yeah.
Shooting,
Okay, we're going into shooting.
finally. I mean, he only has his druid.
So he ended up really not doing much with that unit of. Did he face it to face the Beast of Nature? Yes, he turned it around to face the Beast of Nature.
Well, yeah, there's not really a threat besides a Pegasus, to the rear.
Yep. So he's taking a conservative-ish approach, as in he is not throwing them towards the Night Horde, and he's sort of counting on the Night Horde being chaffed up and being non-maneuverable for longer. But we'll see. So I do.
Combat.
Yeah, combat. So 16. This is the Night Horde.
7.
6.
that one. Gotcha. So 4 hits.
Is that
And
the the first donut or the second donut or the third donut?
Yeah. Do you have enough donuts for this game, Britton? That's what I really need to know.
he thought he
Yeah.
didn't, but he might have.
So this is a slice of pizza.
Oh, or pizza.
Okay.
Okay.
It's your birthday, so you eat whatever you want.
Eat
Yeah.
Oh, I am. I'm eating like a 13-year-old right now, donuts and Pizza Hut, because I have not had outside food in 3 months, and this was the day.
Okay, so
So you put a little damage on the Nightheart, eight wounds.
right,
Mm,
which
yes.
we weren't expecting it to die. So
No, but that's not bad.
That's not bad.
well, his heals are going to be Keith's heals are going to be not in healing mode
Yeah,
anytime soon.
No.
So
Still hitting there.
that's those are wounds that are going to stick at least for a turn or two.
So now we're going to the Forsaken combat.
Okay.
That's that's bad.
Yeah, needs 5s against that Beast of Nature. Yeah, that was a rough roll.
That was bad. Ooh, the beast of nature is still there.
I mean,
Yeah.
you'd hope to blow it up, but I mean, when you lose all your thunders, that's definitely not.
No, looks like he did get it.
He got it?
Oh,
Okay.
well,
That's good.
he put 6 wounds just off of the his beast of nature onto the beast of nature. So
Oh yeah, then you already had some wounds from.
I think there was 4 damage before the 6, so that would put it at a 10.
Oh, plus the Order of Forsaken did 2.
So
Yes.
so the 6 would have, so it's 12 wounds. It's a 15, 17. So yeah, an 18 would have taken it off. So
Okay, his turning is Forsaken.
and good reform. So
Yeah, staying out of arc. Now he has that Or the Forsaken kind of threatening the middle of the board.
yes, sir. He still needs to do the Beast of Nature fight there in the middle. Is that?
Yeah, Beast of Nature on.
And
Beast
then
of
that
Nature.
one, guys on the unicorn.
So now it's the Bane Chant. Oh, he Bane Chanted the Beast of Nature.
Right. I think he's thinking with 14 and
Oh, okay. He's destroying the unicorn now with his Redemption Knights.
Yeah, well, we knew that was coming, right?
right.
Not a big shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now would. Now here's the thing: do you
Ooh.
see? This is why I would have done the Beast of Nature fight first, because then I might have
Yeah.
considered going to the left D3 and possibly getting 50% on the hills. So when you charge the next round, you have.
But they already have Thunderous 2 and Crushing 1. So they don't really need to be on the hill.
Yeah.
Unless they're charging the Earth Elementals.
And I think at this point he's thinking, I'll lose the
that's
Order. If he loses the Order of the Brotherhood, he has these knights as a backup. And at this point, I think he's really just planning Page is just like, I'm just going to keep them stuck back there, and I'm going to win, with my three
Right.
points across the board. You'll have 2.
So he did 8 damage on the Beast of Nature. Let's see whether he can waver it.
14.
Nah,
Ooh, just shy.
by 1.
Yeah.
UB dice.
I mean, 6.
It's
nerve check's
expected.
not horrible. It's
Yeah. You're 4.
Okay, now it's going to bottom of 4.
And not to second guess, and it's really easy to look back from bottom of turn 4 and say woulda, shouldas, but Man, I wish Keith's infantry regiment did something other than just stand there.
Yeah, he should have probably moved him to the side or something. Move down the right flank. I don't know how.
'Cause
but-
Right.
there's-
I mean, had he been on the other side of the horde, he could have been moving around Nam and just kind of going behind that earth wall,
yeah,
Mhm.
Earth War, yeah.
and basically gone into Page's side of the board unmolested.
Yep.
Because that's the situation now is he's in a really tough spot where as long as there are 2 tokens owned and sitting on his side of the board, I mean, currently there's 3, but as long as there's 2, that's really hard to fight back from
Right.
when you don't have your own crossed over. So it felt sort of like Page planned from the beginning a route across the board, and Keith planned on just killing Page.
Right.
And
Well, I mean, it's those 1,000 future possibilities that Page was seeing as the numbers were just falling across his face, like in the
he's
Matrix.
seeing through the Matrix. It's just like, I wish there had been some effort. Like, if those guys aren't going to influence the battle, like either they went out around the side to our left, Keith's right, and tried to influence the battle, or they decided not to influence the battle and they took the left-hand side or another route and just ran for daylight. But right now they're doing neither. So it's a little late now, but man, it would have been nice to have seen them say turn 2, just start booking in some direction.
And look like Keith has taken a little sneaky rear charge with the beast.
As Keith is wont to do.
But I just worry there's just not enough game left.
Yeah, he's got to take units. If you can't see the Forsaken, take 21 attacks on a premium unit.
Right.
Yeah, 21.
But that would
But
basically open up the Order of the Forsaken getting him if he doesn't.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of bodies to get through.
And not a lot of turns.
Not a lot of turns, and also not a lot of flexibility. I mean, we're looking at Earth Elementals with 4 Surge and a giant footprint Night Horde that, if it keeps taking punches to the face, eventually can go down. The healing is dead or disrupted at this point. So.
Exactly, and that's why yeah, you only did 8 wounds on that horde, but I mean, you got to start
Somewhere.
putting wounds on at some point. You will never shot
Here we go.
like that if you don't put any damage into it.
Here we
There you
go.
Which
So-
that's not unexpected, right? Like it's gonna. Now, question is, do you even want to kill that Night Horde at this point? Because that might just free up that regiment.
They're not getting across. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point in your page, you keep throwing units in front of them and just, because even if, let's say, best case scenario, somehow the Night Horde gets free somehow, I mean, it could, kill either of those units in a fresh charge, but there's no way it's going to get free.
It's trying.
It's trying.
Definitely trying. He's trying to
But the
see if he
retainers are in
can.
the way.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you corkscrew with the Earth Elementals into the damaged Order of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, they do have line of sight, so that is a play if the Night Horde gets out of the way.
I don't think Night Horde could get. The Night Horde is trying to do the counter charge, right?
Yeah, it's countercharging the
So-
Pegasus.
Right.
Yeah. So I think. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to 100% take a Order of Forsaken Horde to the face, go on ahead. That's
Yep. So we do that.
Well, and then you do that. And then I
Now-
almost I want him to charge with the regiment.
do
You
something.
got straight
Yeah.
path. Straight path.
So-
Hit them. The knights are going to be out of the way from the double berserk or the double beast of nature charge, maybe, and you just go for glory straight down the middle.
So- Keith could
It's like that. It's like that victory tunnel, after a football game.
Fucking-
Going through,
it's
let's do it.
opening up.
He's that orc berserker in Lord of the Rings: Two Towers, just carrying the 2 tokens.
Brindley said that he can't move since he's shifted to the side. to make way
Yeah.
for the night one. So
Yeah.
Now,
I wish.
Keith could pick up all 3 knight regiments this turn.
Yep.
yeah,
And that's why part of me wanted him getting, I don't know how it would have worked or if it would have worked, but getting more space in between that horde and
two night regiments. One's a horde of water elementals.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
they're horses though. They're water horses.
Yeah.
If that matters for you, Brenton.
Truly the worst.
I love that scene in Lord of the Rings, though. I'm not going to lie. That's amazing. Both in the cartoon one and the Peter Jackson one, when those horse waves come rolling through, it's awesome.
Yeah, and his unit in UB is based on his real unit in real life, where he uses horses.
Right. Yeah, he uses the magic horses in the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a chance, I think, that the water elementals will survive the flank dash. Maybe not, but yeah.
Well, they're hindered again, so.
They hit it again,
Yeah, fives ain't pretty, but
5s and 4s.
So 3 moons possibly.
Spain chant those suckers.
Bane chant them.
Kill the water horses. Kill the horses.
Yeah,
Horses must die.
did they regen 4? What did they regen back on the
I think
water
2 or
elementals?
3.
2 or 3? Okay.
I can't remember.
That was like half a whiskey in for me, so I don't remember. I just Is Keith trying to figure out his post death of the Pegasus actions, or
Because this way, I think when he's looking through, is there a path to victory left for me anymore in this game? And then I think that's, when you're getting down to it, I think that's the good players will do is there a way for me to win still? And if so, then no matter how hard a chance, I got to go through that path. So that's probably what I imagine where Keith's mind is at right now.
Yeah, and like for me, it feels like any path to victory for him definitely involves that horde of knights doing terrible things to whatever it can get a hold of. I mean, part of it is if he can even just, I don't know, but chase away that horde, because it really wants to be on his side of the board to really control it. If he can get one of those tokens off of him,
right?
It's a little scary.
Yeah, well, the thing is even if he does destroy that Pegasus and does go in, you just throw that Order Forsaken into that thing, so it takes turn 5 to kill it, and then you throw the water elementals in front of that turn 6, and then hope there's no turn 7. Just, and you preserve that horde from taking really.
Yeah, which is why I would have loved to have seen it not turn away or not turn entirely backwards, but start pointing in a safe direction, but with.
Well, he can do that now. The thing is that Keith has given up any hope of the rear charge now by throwing everything into killing those knight regiments. So,
can we check arc on the center Beast of Nature of pages?
Looks like it's got the back corner, but it's a flank, so it really can't, right? Or...
I'm just looking around like when.
I'm so confused. What's going on?
Keith's replanning here. So.
I think Keith realizes that if he's going to have any chance in this game, it's happening in this turn.
Right.
Yeah. And he's being careful about. There's times when you look at the fact that you can pick up certain units or have a chance to pick up at certain units, and you sort of say, "Great, I'm going to do that," but that's not actually helping your overall goal in the limited amount of time. And in this case, it might be or it might not be, but it's always good to check your sort of assumption. Like, just because you have a juicy target doesn't mean you want to take it.
Right.
Yeah, just because you can do a thing doesn't mean that you must do that thing, as they say.
I think it might be that he wasn't super confident in breaking those water elementals, and he wants to. So he can put the Knight Horde into the Regiment of Brotherhood in the middle,
And pick
And
them up
even-
pretty reliably. So
and he can double the water elementals and put more damage on them. There's a few sort of choices.
And he could have not liked his reform where the knights were being so bunched up against all those other units. Could have been something. But like you said, 36 attacks on 5s is not guaranteed to kill that unit.
right.
If he had not double charged the water elementals, I mean.
Yeah.
Right. If he just single charge on the flank, that's not a gimme. So, but they do have brutal. So there's that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's say best case scenario, Keith can pick up the water elementals and both knight regiments.
Yes.
So then we're going into turn 5. I mean, I don't think even if he does that, the earth elementals are going to really be hard pressed to get into combat really effectively. So then he's really looking at, with my knight horde, can I kill either their horde or the earth elemental, or am I going to be able to get one of those units?
I mean, that Earth Elemental Horde, the one that is currently hindered, it pushes forward, say 3 inches or something. It's starting to get into range to threaten the other Earth Elementals, and something does need to stop it. He has at least 2 more turns, so there's a chance for him to keep influencing because the Earth Elemental Horde and the Infantry Horde are still in the middle of the board, basically. So they're not quite out of influence range.
They moved on to the range phase.
Okay, so he's doing shooting now.
Yes.
Oh, lightning.
Something got.
Yeah, hitting some lightning bolt on
Pegasus
the
is gone, I guess.
Pegasus.
Ooh,
Ooh,
Yeah.
gone.
It's gone.
who shot it?
Unicorn.
Unicorn, the not flying one.
Yeah, the one wing.
Where even? Oh, there it is. I see it now.
Way in the rear with the gear.
Pointed along with the infantry regiment that's holding all the gear. Apparently,
I mean that is the gear. So yeah.
That is a good roll.
I used to play a war game where you had your camp was represented on the battlefield,
Okay.
and one of the ways to win was attacking and defeating someone's
Ooh.
camp.
Thank God for Vicious. Gave him 2 wounds. That's not optimal.
Yeah, it's gone, more or less. He's got the redemption. It's time for another roll. Ooh.
Yeah, Boxcars
they are gone.
Yeah.
Well, this is a turn of where a lot of things got to go right for Keith, right? And so far, he's had a couple things go right so far.
Right.
Yep. So he, the 2, I gotta say, there's been a lot of maneuvering around, but those Beasts of Nature have, especially that one that came in from our right, his left, has been getting a lot of damage in and utility in. So they're causing some trouble.
Yep.
Yeah, push it forward.
Nice.
That's a good push forward roll too.
Now, a combat against the water elementals.
We
8 hits.
got some
Two
Brits waking up early. Foxes. Jesus, what is your Saturday morning like? This is like 5:50 in the morning or something there.
Wow, he had 17 5s on that 36.
Wow.
One in the flank.
Nice.
Wow, it works. So okay, so no shenanigans. He's checking them off the boxes of stuff that he needs to go his way this turn.
Didn't need the additional.
Right.
What? It's a bit of a lag.
I'm about to say, is he still want to keep that horde of Earth Elementals hindered? Because he was just pivoting. I guess he's decided against it, move forward, possibly. So he would need a 4 at least, 5. Oh, there you go. Now he's not going to be hindered next turn. So.
Whoop.
Needs to go back a smudge so they're not touching, but otherwise it's pretty good reform.
I hope Fox is waking up and not just hasn't gone to sleep yet. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? In times like this,
7
timing.
wounds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
These guys should be gone too.
Yeah, they're gone
Yeah.
with the 5 on top of that. That's yeah.
They definitely got.
So what we basically saw is the stuff that we thought would sort of happen in an earlier round.
Yeah.
And a bunch of hordes and regiments of pages poofed into pink mist, and he now has a lot less pieces on the board, but he does have those Forsaken Knights ready to swoop in, and he does have that uninjured Beast of Natures.
He's got 2 uninjured Beast of Natures.
Yeah, 2.
And part of me thinks, I mean, it's going to be tight here, but like he needs to trade those efficiently to do maximum slowdown. This is Operation Tar Pit.
Yeah.
Like get them in positions where they gum up multiple charge lanes, and yeah, I really wish those that horde of infantry and maybe even those elementals were further to the left, that they had used one of those turns to kind of just get away. But we'll see.
Yep, this is gonna be
It's top of 5 here. It's can Page maximize that slow enough to get him through the end of the game?
And part of me thinks for a 6-turn game, like you have 3 flyers, you should be able to do this. Three flyers and a water elemental regiment should be able to stop these units from closing in, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the heal to try to block line of sight too.
Mhm.
Yeah, if he gets pivot and move to the left.
Yeah.
So yeah, where is Order of Forsaken is going? I don't think is the Forsaken in charge range of the Night Horde.
Let's take a look.
I don't
Looks to be
think
out.
so.
No.
Just barely out.
Close. It's very close. Is it?
No, I think it's just out. It's hard to tell because they fade out that far away, but I
think they are at 21 inches out, maybe. It's like just out.
I think it is just out. So what do you think? I mean, where would you guys take that Order of Forsaken Horde? Where do you think he can get max value with it round? Just like move it straight ahead and just sit it in front of stuff, maybe even?
So for me, he's got a choice to make about is he going to try and fight some of this out and run partially, or because the other option here besides running and surviving is he fights this out, is that he says, I can kill these beast of nature, I can slow down these Night Horde, because he can charge with the Beast of Nature into the Night Horde, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that I just turn and fight it out. So,
yeah, I mean that's what makes the most sense to me is you just put that Beast of Nature right into the Night Horde, and then you're just like, okay, here's one more turn. You're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, like I don't, and then you line up that second Beast of Nature to do the same turn 6, maybe,
and you just lock it down for the rest of the game. Yeah,
right.
And you say you're
use that regiment of water elementals for the exact same purpose. Hell, use that Pegasus so you can kill off that other one. Just throw everything.
And what you're sort of saying is that we need to stop your Beasts of Nature because those are annoying, and you're Earth Elementals aren't going to kill us. So we just need to stop that Night Horde, and we'll win. But
Yeah, take out those beasts of nature, then just delay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you feed it all at this point and just.
But like, if you're doing 4 damage with each of those pieces you're throwing into the Night Horde, they could break.
Yeah, I mean, you chip away enough damage without any heals.
Yeah, 8 damage is not an insignificant amount on that unit right now.
What are they, 20,
There is a unicorn without wings chilling that may not have lightning bolt targets, and want to heal up, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Right. It's like, or you throw something in there and hope for a lucky waiver.
And I think Paige knows that. He knows sort of that little piece of real estate there, right, with the 2 beasts of nature is important right now. So I think that's probably right. What's going through his mind is, how do I deny space in this little kind of what little lane there is right there?
If he charges the beast of nature, it might be a bad move, because that allows the earth elementals on the right to come in. I mean, a bit more time. But
Yeah, but I think we've already established it's not exactly a threat right now.
it's not.
Unless they can get a flank. The main thing about the Earth Elementals, the main sort of thing about the Earth Elementals is they're shambling, so they're moving 5 unless you give them a charge to move faster. Yeah. So you don't mind giving them a charge if you plan for it. You just want to make sure you're not letting them double their move for free.
Yeah.
And
the question is, do we need to DoorDash you another Pizza Hut pizza? Are you good?
I wouldn't say need.
Because the question is, we're top of 5 at 2.5 hours. So if we're going at this pace, I mean, it could be. I just want to make sure it's your birthday. I want to make sure you're set.
I mean, I don't want anyone to have to go back in the beginning of the podcast, but I was actually clean shaven when this game started.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just hoping we finish this game while it is still my birthday. We have 2 hours.
Yeah, I think that's a realistic goal that we can try to work towards as a team together. Let's all come together.
That's why I got this other whiskey. So
But no, I mean, we have
beforehand, but
I'm an adult now. I feel bad, but I no longer polish off entire pizzas myself.
Yeah.
I expected more from you. It's your
my ability to do that, I think, faded at about 32, maybe.
Well, here's the thing. I can do it. I just don't want to suffer the consequences.
That's true.
Yeah. It feels good going in, but not so good going out.
So the trick is,
even that, after the 3rd slice, I'm like, what am I doing? Ugh.
So the trick is not to stop, right? I can eat any amount of pizza if I did this in front of me if I don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you stop and reconsider your life choices, that's when it's done.
Right. Yeah. It's all about.
It's the same with cereal and pasta.
So going into, here we are in turn 5. We knew that we were going to have an interesting mirror match. Paige's list a little bit speedier, not quite as much defense 6 grind as Keith's list. Has anything really jumped out at you guys, surprised you? I mean, really the only big possible mistake that we saw was that one Pegasus charge. Otherwise, it's been a pretty clean game, I think.
Yeah, I think. I think Paige allowing those beasts of natures into the middle of his sort of strong flank.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really sort of messed stuff up, because he threw a big chunk of his army into the front of Keith's army. And if you look, all they killed were woodland critters and and one unicorn.
Right.
Everything else is still there.
True.
So it looks like he is going to take that beast, right? As in
Yeah.
blocking the Night Horde. I think that's a good move.
So that for me, like he threw a ton of his army into the front of Keith's army, smashed into him, and really picked almost nothing up. So the only thing he did do was force him back and buy himself time, and he needs to win from that bought time, or else it was a bad game. So yeah.
So, what do you think he's trying to do with the Earth Elemental Horde, which looks like a Super Legion right now, the way it's got the behind it?
Yeah, this is one of those where I'm trying not to think too hard about it till we actually know what he's doing, because there's infinite reality here.
Yeah. It's even like the Doctor Strange movie where we're seeing all the different realities
happening all at the same time.
You know?
He's opened up a separate client where he is playing out the next 2 turns in a separate
algorithms, just running dice, rolling dice, algorithms, running out every possible scenario.
If we go back to the Universal Battle 2 lobby, we'll see 3 other games with Paige in them. all with the same board state, all being experimented in.
I just got to see the Paige Doctor Strange cosplay. Next tournament.
Yeah.
That's got to happen. Yeah.
I will UPS it. I will mail you the costume. Let's see it.
I'll make sure he wears it.
Make sure.
I'll make sure.
And
it's your
just to be fair, we love you, Paige. Thank you for letting us watch your game.
Friendly
joking.
Paige is an amazing player. He's probably one of the best players in the world that's maybe not as well known because he comes out of Singapore. But I mean, he goes toe to toe on UB with the best players in the world. So
yeah.
Yep.
And that's one of the things we've talked about it a lot in these casts. That's something I love about this Call to Arms tournament, is that because we are not locationally constrained on it, besides just weird time zones for games, it gets a chance for Australians to play a bunch of Americans to play a bunch of Brits and Australians to redo the Ashes every 2 weeks. Which is fun for them. And it gives a chance for all of those different groups that are normally in very, very separate metas to mix and play and really have fun. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. Like we've got to see, Brinley and Tom Robinson play earlier today, 2 great players, just like you said, a lot of these really great matchups that there would be no way that we would have outside of this environment.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like we're talking about, it's like, my opponent for round 4 is Ezequiel Ferreira from Argentina. And like, yeah, I mean, I would never get to play a guy from Argentina. Like, that's amazing.
You know what I think is really happening? It's in the daytime in Singapore, right? And Keith is on the East Coast with a baby. So Keith is probably so exhausted, tired right now. Paige is like,
playing the long game. Like, when is Keith going to fall asleep at the keyboard?
Seriously.
Yeah, what's the weather like? Is he just on his porch sunning himself and making us all...
And Keith has got a baby crying and in his bottles, and it's like,
got it. This all makes sense now. Paige is plotting this out.
Mm-hmm.
It's devious. I like it.
Paige just seems so nice,
Well, it wasn't that a tactic some people had within like billiards, where when you were playing those really long multi-game sets that you would take as long as you could on each shot and just try and tire the other person mentally out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Paige. You only have like 2 units to move.
And like and only got like 1 day left in your weekend. I mean,
there's something to be said about using the time in the parts of the game where you should use the time, right? So let's say, that's a good tip on maximizing your clock, right? Is trying to envision where along in this game's narrative and its story do I need to really have access to time.
Yeah, that's one I never learned. My last turns are always like, how many rolls can I do in 48 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
See, I am the opposite. I'm like, wow, I have 13 minutes left on this clock. This is amazing. Like, so.
Yeah.
No, I'm a slower player too myself. So I mean, it can be a challenge if you're. And I think that is one thing UB doesn't probably help slower players play faster. It's not a good tool
No.
if that's what you're going for.
No.
I mean, it would be cool. I know they've talked a little bit about in updates to UB of making the rings easier to see farther away. I know he's talked about maybe trying to implement that. It would be great if you could put some just simple clock function. Like if you wanted to play with the time clock, just have that on UB would be really nice. Update, I think.
There's definitely, like, it could be built into UB, but if you wanted to play on clocks, it's not that hard. You just like they might be a tiny bit out of sync, but you just run a clock and But
Yeah, that's for me as a faster player. That is something that I need to learn to slow down. Consider not the first and second order effects, but even the third and fourth order effects of my decisions, because it's easy to figure out what's the next turn, but what's the turn after that? Yeah, sure, I smashed that unit, but have I considered what happens afterwards? And I frankly no, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, you're a Varangur player. Right.
Well, I mean, that or herd, or I play fast.
Punch you in the face.
Yeah, more aggressive armies.
Well, the cool part too is that I'm done by turn 4. I can go over and watch my buddies, play on the top table while I'm sitting there from the mid tables. I can kind of be like, "Oh, cool, what's going on? Oh, you guys are in bottom of 3. Cool, yeah, I'm done." Yeah.
Well, I will honestly say that, like, the reason I want to play faster at tournaments is just so I have a little more breathing time to pack up my shit and get to the next table. Because sometimes
the in between when you're rushing from one table to the next.
Yeah, we were at Masters, and I had no idea how the rest of the team was doing because I am desperately just finishing my game and getting to the next thing, and would look up to breathe every once in a while. So I need to take some Felix Castro, BD play, Operation Grill, charge everything lessons,
push it forward,
and just so I can enjoy my tournament a little more.
So even with Dwarves at Lady of the Lake 2 years ago, me and John Carter, an undead player from Dayton, we ended up playing each other in the final round. Whatever. I still took a rear charge from. I made a rear charge with Gallic with 93 dice involved. I made it, and I still had 8 minutes left on the clock at the end of the game. Like that's how quickly we. John was a gentleman. He said, "Hey, I'll give you snakes." I said, "Hell no! I'm rolling 93 dice." Like, how many times do you get to do that? I had 13 minutes left on the clock at the time, so I was like, "Let's do this."
So it looks like Paige is kind of trying to block that stuff in the middle. I'm thinking that he's double charging. Maybe he just hasn't deleted.
Yeah.
There's a question from Tom Annis. What is Paige even trying to check? And the answer to that is the future of the human race.
Answer is everything. He's checking everything.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's like,
we need to stop giving him shit. He is in his Sanctum Sanctorum or whatever it's called. And
he's working on the vaccine. He's got.
He's figuring out COVID-19. He's
he's on COVID 2024. So he's there.
He's figured that one out.
If you guys ever want to leave your house again, leave Paige alone. He's solving.
Let him do his work.
He's already got the next 3 Clash of Kings updates planned out. He's already got the rough draft for version 4. I mean, he's got it all. It's just
he's protecting us all. He's got the time stone. Just let him work.
For second night dual reality, you did. That's funny. The timelines are merging.
Something's merging, and I don't know. It's the end of this game.
It's starting to coalesce here into
I might actually get another rye whiskey at this point.
So I'm thinking.
I see your whiskey is running out.
It is.
Felix.
And I had a whiskey and Mountain Dew prior to that, and a whiskey and cola prior to that. So this is like this will be my 4th whiskey coming up. So.
Okay, wait just a second here. A whiskey and Mountain Dew?
Yeah. I had a soda. F it.
So we have some
shooting finally.
Oh, snap.
We've made it out of the movement phase. We're doing it.
Was
We're doing it
was
live.
any of that even legal? Tweet.
Brinley Smith, the timelines are merging. It's true.
That is accurate. So what even happened? Like,
He did a Bane chant
oh, well, he did a.
and a heal, I guess.
Well, no,
no,
the
lightning bolt.
yeah, I think with the 5,
Lightning
it had
bolt,
to
I
been a
guess?
lightning bolt, but
Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
took it off with the
He took off a beast of nature.
the damaged one.
so he had the
Yeah,
unicorn and hit it with the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Hey, that he replaced that heal 5 with the lightning bolt, so it's only dumb if it doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he.
Now he's gonna do combat against the
The other one.
Yep.
Oh my God, Thomas! Like
6 hits. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Only 3 wounds.
yeah, not great on the wound roll, but only 7 hits with the elementals.
And 3 wounds, so 6 wounds total with brutal. So he needs a 10 to take it off, or that.
That? Oof.
oof.
Yeah,
Oof.
that
Oof.
brutal kicking in for the.
Oh. UB
No,
dice. UB dice.
Was it though? Yeah. 10 on the nerf check. That'll do it.
I mean, that's a really clutch. I mean,
Put it on the banner. Put it on the banner. UB dice.
Paige is in a good position as it is, but
Right. So for like the 3 people that are still watching on the stream, that was that's how you draw it up, right? That's...
mhm.
He moved the.
So as we talked about, like that pathway to victory, do we see one still for Keith, or is that really starting? Not being able, get into that horde.
Um,
Well, the thing is, he's got
Seven.
another. Well, yeah, because that horde's going to kill that beast of nature next turn, but then Paige can just throw that other beast of nature right back into that horde. So it's just kind
The
of.
question is, what?
So yeah, that one horde can definitely charge his.
Yeah, that
horde
one
of
Earth Elemental
equivalent.
horde does have some options.
But is it going to kill it in 2 turns or 1
Bottom
turn?
of
No,
5.
doubt it. Hashtag doubt.
Matt Croger says he thinks even hashtag UB Dice wants the game to be over, but
Is it possible for his retainers regiment to multi-charge the beast of nature? They can't, right?
with the Night Horde, you mean?
Yeah. Then in that case, there's a chance you could like do the path of glory if there's a turn 7.
I don't know if it would rotate. It would slide enough to the left to allow contact.
Yeah.
Okay, so the water elementals whiffed on the Pegasus, right? Or unicorn?
They did like what defense is a unicorn anyway?
5, right?
5? Damn.
Yeah, they're dumb.
he only did 1 wound.
Oh, they did 1? Okay.
Yeah, 1 wound. He rolled a 5.
Okay.
that matters though, right? Because it grounds it.
That grounds it,
I think
right.
at that point he's just trying to do a point of damage and then just be done with that.
Exactly.
Steve is in the chat.
Hildrew?
Yeah. Death by dragons.
What
He's
the hell are
come
they
to
doing
see
waking
what
up
the,
at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday? God.
how the Hill Drew
Yes,
Humbler
kids.
is doing.
Yeah, Steve has like kids. I can't remember how many kids he has. Yeah, and they range in like from 2-3 years old to like 18 years old. So
Yeah, he runs the gamut on.
Hear that, Steve? You got a little fan club. Don't say that. I'll go to his head.
23.
So here's the thing, Felix. A lot of us with kids have to wake up early.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
That is true.
I don't know if you wake up early or you just ignore them in the morning.
I pretend to not hear him.
Because on After Dark, it's like I'll log in being like, oh, it's kind of late. I'll see if anyone's here. And it's like, Felix is still going strong in a different time zone.
Yeah.
Like I sign off to go to bed and Felix is still up. So I just assume that in the morning, like, I don't know, a fucking steak falls from the ceiling for the dog and a bowl of cereal pops out of a wall and like a Back to the Future style Rube Goldberg machine and your kids are just
funny story. When I was on active duty in the Army, like I would be getting onto a shift when people were like going to bed, and then like they'd wake up and go into their shift in the morning and I'm still there, and they'd be like, "Do you not sleep at all, sir?" I said, "No, I don't. I'll go to sleep when freedom goes to sleep." But having a very undiagnosed sleep disorder for a very long time helps when it comes to the whole staying up late for stuff. So
yeah, I worked at a video game company for a while, and we had a third shift, which was the midnight to 8 a.m. shift,
right?
Of QA testers, and they were in the basement because that's where QA testers go, I guess. And they were shocked when like they would log a bug late in the project, and I would just show up, like pop down into their office and be like, "Who did that? Reproduce it for me." And they're like, "Hey, oh my god, it's 3 in the morning.
Reproduction, liar."
Show that to me. And they're like, when do you sleep? And I'm like, I sleep when you're not writing fucking bugs.
Yeah, right.
As soon as you stop doing dupes, that's when I go to bed.
That's big facts. Big facts.
Okay, so got some Earth Elemental and Earth Elemental action. It's a lot of mirror match combats for this game.
I mean, what do you think Steve's doing? Is maybe hoping, or sorry, what do you think? Who knows what Steve does? What do you think?
Yeah, I really don't want to know what Steve's doing.
What do you think Keith is thinking? He's thinking maybe he can pick up the one off the Earth Elemental Horde, and then maybe it's even that he loses 4-3, right? Because he'll have
right.
Unless he can get the one with the Earth Elemental out of on the other side.
Yeah.
Get it and also get across the board with it.
Yeah, we talked path to victory, and that's a narrow one. But
yeah.
So that's him trying to. I mean, yeah. At this point, I would. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely in preserve what points he has in terms of tokens, because I can't imagine that regiment of infantry going anywhere.
Yeah.
And again, we say this all in joking, right? We all love Paige. He's a great player, so this is not at all snidey or whatever. It's just our reality right now. So
actually,
it's just the timeline we're living in.
Yeah, this is the one that he's chosen. So let's hope it's
okay. He's seen all the timelines, so this is not unexpected for him. So what do you think Keith's trying to figure out at this point? I mean, he's got to know that Paige can get to that beast of nature into him if he needs to.
I mean, I really think he's trying to get that token off the regiment or the horde and then get it across the board. I mean, really, that's
right.
And maybe
for the draw,
the Night Horde in turn 7. Maybe if there's a turn 7, he can get the Night Horde into something that matters.
Right.
Could he drop his tokens on the Night Horde though? Or
what do you mean
No, so it's slow and difficult because you have to drop the tokens entirely within your own footprint.
Yeah,
and you pick them up at the beginning of your turn. So
there would have been enough time.
He would have had to have already dropped them.
Okay, so we're in
9 wounds on the and not
Ooh,
even wavered. Ugh.
not even wavered. The Beast of
Oh,
Nature
wow.
stays.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's rough.
He failed the Bane Chant of the Knights, so yeah.
Yeah, he failed
was,
the Bane chance, so they weren't able to. It's only
Yeah, they
9
only did,
wounds
like-
because that was a difference of
1
8
wound?
wounds.
Oh, 8 wounds.
Difference of 8 wounds.
Oh, 8 wounds, yes.
Yeah, that's rough.
So now, you know, is there a path?
I think
I think Keith just summed it up pretty appropriately on that.
I think
statement.
it was yeah. Uh-huh. I think Keith has
Sums it up.
the intelligent man he is, I think, has said it.
I think he figured that one out because that not deleting that Beast of Nature really screws up any chances he had of being able to get into anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
anything that doesn't go completely amazingly his way is closing. Like we said, that path to victory is getting, minuscule.
I mean, besides a throw from Page, did it just close?
I think
mean,
so. Yeah, I think that was his last hope, was to try to get that Night Horde free somehow.
Yeah.
You have to get that pain uncorked, or else it ain't happening.
So he did 4 to the Earth Elemental Horde.
Yeah, but you can't. You need
Not
a
horrible.
3. You need a 3 twice because the druid's there.
Mhm.
Or you would need a 13 twice with the. So that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, we got rocks on rocks.
Okay, so we're now in top of 6, right? So now this is Page's top of 6.
Correct.
That's not a fun fight for anyone. Rocks on rocks. It's just like 2 slate quarries making out. It's just not.
Which I'm sure there's sites on the internet where you could pay extra for that sort of content, but yeah. Not
It's
here.
it's just yeah.
All right, well now it's Page's turn. I'm gonna grab me another drink. Oh, we'll be right back.
It should be faster. Come on.
Should it?
I mean, he only has 1 unit, 2 units to move, I guess.
Okay, so he only has 717 realities to go through, as
Yeah.
opposed to where we were last time with 6 figures.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been a couple whiffs and a couple other stuff from Keith's side on the dice, but
Yeah.
What I do want to start talking about is Page is going to lose a lot of his army. Not all of it, but a lot, and there were some parts where he could have lost more that he lucked out on. But he looks to be winning this game. How much of that is sort of bad luck from Keith's side when he needed to break certain things, not being able to, and how much is good play from Page of keeping his... I mean, no one has touched that unit with the tokens, and they're on his side of the board. How much of it is good play, engineering that to happen, or was it sort of luck? And
Mhm. Well, I thought Page recovered very well from the 2 Beasts of Nature. They got put in such a rough spot, and I think he played out of that pretty well. I think as opposed to... So we talked a little bit before, right, about the 2 kind of unforced errors. You had Page giving a little open space and then Keith allowing the Pegasus to fit. I think Page was able to play himself out of that a little bit better, whereas Keith had opportunities, but he had that 1.5 turns of just subpar dice rolling, and he couldn't quite get him out of being jammed up. He's basically been jammed up the whole game.
Yeah.
Almost.
Especially when he let the Pegasus charge his Night Horde. I think that was the mistake of the game for me.
Mm-hmm.
He held up his Night Horde for a turn.
And he had ways to get out of that, but as Britton said, just always being kind of low. Just he couldn't roll himself out of that, basically, that issue. So Brinley has a question. What kind of size are you guys getting at your events in Singapore when things are normal, usually?
10. I mean, we don't have the capacity for that. Yeah. We have about 10 active players. So we do have a lot of people who just like they lurk around. I mean, our WhatsApp group has like 60 people, not all play. Yeah.
And are the looky-loos just like other general war gamers that are like vaguely interested in Kings of War? Are they ex-Kings of War players? Like, what's the?
It's a combination. A lot of them are 40k. They are, they just want they want a clean rule set of fantasy, and a lot of them are like old fantasy players. We used to have a pretty big scene back in the ETC days. We used to send a team over for the European Team Championships. That was like 5-6 years ago. So
Yeah.
So a lot of them have moved on to X-Wing now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, X-Wing seems fun, but it lacks the personality for me to be really obsessed with.
There are only 3 factions, right?
Yeah, and it's like you can repaint the ships, but it's not the same as like.
Yeah, it's not the same.
When you make an army in Kings of War, it's your army.
Yeah,
it's very personalized and special, and I'm just not as interested in going. X-Wing feels more like a computer game you happen to play on the board than it does a real like miniature battle game to me.
All right, what are we talking about now? Life.
I say this as I'm commenting literally on a miniature battle game being played on the computer, but
ironic.
So is there, as we're kind of, is there a way that we talked about it, right, Brenton, where outside of ball dropping, is there a way Keith can fight? I mean, is there something that even if Paige tried to do right now that he could do to?
The problem is, like, he's pinned in, and that hill should be blocking line of sight for the Night Horde.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of in the shadow, and he's got one turn to kill that Beast of Nature because I don't see him getting around the 2 of them. I mean, those Beast of Natures, it's a double charge now, right?
Correct.
Both of them in. They could pick up that Night Horde.
Yeah, they weren't. That one wasn't wavered even, so it's 14 attacks on 3s and 3s with vicious. So
yeah, they're picking that up. Quite possibly, if they don't, the best he's doing is killing one of them. I don't see it unless, I mean.
So is that where you just take that Order Forsaken, move them up within charge range? So if they do pick up one of them, it just charges in and polishes the job off. It takes a 410-point unit off the board for Northern Kings.
I mean, like for me, just get everything out of there. Like he's sort of like squared his unit up, and yeah, I mean, I guess the best Keith is hoping for is somehow taking those rocks, taking their token.
And then getting
running onto the side of the board. It's
so what I'm hoping for is, the Beast of Nature kill that Night Horde, but then that regiment holding those 2 tokens charges that injured Beast of Nature and takes them off the board. Just that glorious.
Yeah, that would be a sight to see. So Paige is
combat. So we're going into combat.
7 hits.
Who's fighting what again?
It's the 2 Beasts of Nature. So 3 hits so far, but 2 vicious.
7 hits, so 2 vicious.
Right, so 3 wounds, but he's got 2 vicious, so he's got to see what that is.
1 more damage.
So 4 wounds, so that puts them up to 16.
16. Now he's got the unicorn, right?
Oh, the unicorn in the flank.
So another wound.
No,
2 wounds.
And a 7.
Oh,
that's probably taking him off.
It's time
10,
for math.
16, 18, 19, plus 26. Oh, they're dead.
That's 22, 24, yeah.
Oh, it's gone.
Gone.
All right. Guys with the 2 tokens, this is your chance. Take out Beast of Nature.
Institute rocket protocol. They have rocket boots.
They fly now? They fly now.
They fly now.
They have been waiting the entire game for this chance.
They're like, all right.
Finally. They waited 3 hours.
Oh, and of course he moves that one up for it, so they can't do it.
They can't do nothing.
Well, they can flank, but yeah.
Yeah.
They can flank, but that's all they can do.
I mean, maybe this is stupid, but it's at least something to talk about.
Let's give them
Is getting-
something to talk about.
Is getting the flank on the single beast of nature that's in front, like, isn't that better than charging the damaged one? Isn't the flank? Maybe not. But
Look at their stats. Well, the thing is that it's a fresh unit, so
That's fresh.
So that's
Then
a
you only have
regiment of
24 attacks.
retainers. On the flank, 24 hitting on 4, so 12 hits, no crushing, so
Yeah,
3 wounds, so you're about where you'd be at.
about
other
the
one.
same.
about the
So-
same.
But the other one has 3, so
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that if he just stood there and gave front to both, but I guess he's turning
Well,
around.
he's trying
get
to
a
keep
better
them
control of
further back, right? That's kind of what he's.
Yeah.
So now they definitely aren't getting across the board. I mean, we all knew that, but So so what do you do with that other one? Is they turn around, face the backfield, or the
Where is that facing? Facing
It is facing forward.
Oh, does it have a lot more damage than 3 on it? Is there a second?
It had 9.
Oh.
They put
Yeah,
it's
9
got-
on it.
It's got 9 damage.
Right.
Well, then ignore what I just said.
Yeah, because that was the one he
Yeah, you know-
didn't get the Bane Chant off on the Night Horde, so instead of 17 wounds, he did 9.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
rolled a 4 or rolled a 5 on the nerf check to give him a 14, which is below the 15, 17.
So the trick is to just always make your Bane chance, right, Brindley?
I mean, really, if you just roll 6s all the time, that's gonna get you a pretty good key to victory.
Just never
So-
fail a Bane chant, and the game gets easier.
Right.
Well-
So it's kind of one of these things too. Like even if that Earth Elemental does pick up that Earth Elemental Horde, which is not likely, I mean, that Beast of Nature can still possibly get a rear charge. Possibly.
Because if he does somehow, let's say he kills that. But see, look, Paige was really smart because look where he put that character.
Right.
Then that means is without that unit there, is it still majority on? So I'm trying to look at if he does happen to kill that unit in overrun, where is he with that?
It has to be fully over.
Fully over,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's not majority for push. It's fully over.
Yeah. So then that means I don't think it can get fully over, even if it does kill it.
Right. So it's still 3 points is the max he's got.
Yep.
So it'll be 3 points to 4. So
If he does somehow kill that unit.
which
I-
is well, you got to remember because if he does another 4, that's a 9 twice or 10 or 8 twice with brutal. So I mean, if he does another 4,
Mm.
which is not, it's doable. Just like this whiskey's doable.
I mean, on average, he would do 3, but with brutal, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Keith's just
Insert
picking up.
this one
Keith's
in.
just picking up points right now. What he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for a turn 6 cleanup operation when you know you've lost. It's just like just take it off.
It's
Take that one off.
it's freeing, right? You're just like and
Clear it off the board.
screw that flag guy in particular, which I did to Jesse Cornwell, Sword of Kings 2 years ago.
It's
That was the
you-
genesis of that
you-
quote.
you-
Because I was gonna lose. It was like turn 5 or 6. I was like, you know what? I'm not winning this game, but that flag guy is going down.
I mean, he
So-
gets a waiver on the Order of the Forsaken, but I mean, even if there's a turn,
7?
well, now that does make turn 7 a little bit more interesting.
Spicy.
Yeah, that is a little bit of spice there.
Dare I say that's going to give Paige some things to think about?
Because if there is a turn 7, can Paige stop the Earth and the Earth Elementals get that token? Can they be stopped getting over the board?
Oh, yes. That's right.
Dun, 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 dun.
But I
But
think
that-
he's probably saving this combat for last because this is the big daddy.
And then doesn't that assume that these Earth Elementals are about to do heroic?
That's what I'm saying, right? That's still.
But even then, the best is a tie.
I think, but I mean, I
Like,
think
if they get across the board, it's still a
if
tie.
he okay, I mean, this is it, right? This is the only hope that he has to maybe force a tie. Maybe is if he just spikes. Nope.
That's not a good start.
Nope.
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 No.
Nope.
Sorry.
4 wounds
Come
to
again.
9, 10. So it's a 7 twice.
7 twice. Yeah, he still has a chance.
There's
Let's
always a
see.
chance.
Not with
Not with a
Keith.
6. Yeah.
Not with the momentum. Keith is. I just knew that.
There's no momentum. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's pretty much game at this point, unless it goes to 7.
Well, if we do go to 7, if we do go to 7, this horde probably has that. I mean, I guess if he even wants to flank charge the Earth Elementals with his. He doesn't even really need to, right? I mean, just
Don't risk it.
away. Yeah, why mess with it?
Because
Yeah.
if you flub that and take a flank from the Earth Elementals and other stuff on you,
That beast of
You're-
nature
you're-
survives. It's not even close to wavered. So
Yep. There's
So
no
it
chance
is-
we're getting a turn 7. Is that the roll for turn
oh,
7?
it is a turn 7. Yep.
Oh my god.
Turn 7, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up.
So for a
He's
question.
strong. Yeah, he's strong roll. Come on. Oh,
They
he got it.
So,
Okay.
question: would it behoove him to drop the token on the elementals, and just if they do kill him, that hope he gets like a 2 or a 3 to pick it up, or you just risk it and just keep the token?
just keep it.
Yeah,
keep it.
I mean,
You're blocking the overrun, right? So
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. See, I'm not really all that good at this game, so I just kind of doing these things out in my head. So, who does that beast of nature countercharge?
whoever it wants.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that the board state's really not going to change all that much this turn.
But if he kills that unit of retainers, which is not likely, but if he kills it and takes those tokens,
He's checking if the elementals are in range.
charge range.
Well, I don't have the pack in front of me. What do you, for which unit?
I think he's talking about the water elementals,
Got it. Here you go.
maybe. Well, I was just saying, if the Beast of Nature countercharges the guys with the tokens, kills them, which is not likely, that makes the whole fight at the bottom completely moot point. you know?
Relevant. Yeah.
Right. But I doubt, I mean, he's probably doing what? 4
5.
wounds on average, 5 wounds. Yeah, it's not likely on a.
Yeah.
I think they're inspired, but a 13-15 unit. So
Yeah.
Now, to get the bonus points from the scenario, I don't have the pack in front of me. How many tokens you have to hold to get the extra maximum bonus points?
I think it's for every token you hold. But
You get a bonus point up to a maximum of 5, so you have to have all 5 to get the 5 points.
Aren't you playing in this tournament, Jeremy?
I know I should. I just don't have I don't have the pack up in front of me.
I will bring it up.
My excuse is I'm not in this tournament.
Uh huh.
Wow, my brother just finally liked my comment and wished him happy birthday 10 days ago. Thanks, Kevin. Love you. Let's see. He lives in LA, one of them California people now, so I really just.
California people.
So
You people.
it's.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. What do you mean, you?
So
people?
it's 1 bonus VP for each token you hold.
Okay.
2 if the token unit holding it is entirely on your opponent's board half. So it's just basically as many tokens you have with the points, the maximum of 5 seems like.
So, but do you get?
Oh
extra
no, because
bonus
the middle,
points?
because for this one they make the middle token only ever worth 1,
Okay.
Oh,
which is different
There's
from
no
push
option.
out of the book.
Yeah.
Push in the book is worth 2 if you pick
2.
it up and walk it across the
Okay.
board, but I think it's only ever
So
worth 1.
right now it's looking like Paige then would have. You said, do they get 2 points? I know you get 2 points for the scenario, but for the bonus points, you get 2 points if the things across the board.
Bonus VP for each token you hold, 2 if the unit is entirely in your opponent's half.
Okay, so Paige right now has 5 points anyway.
Right.
He's got 2
Yeah.
across the board. So I was just trying to think of, is there a way that he could? So if Keith can get 1 more point, if he can pick up that Earth Elemental Horde and get that token, that will be an extra point for him. For the bonus points, wise.
Right.
So,
He would have 3. He would have 3 VP.
Mm-hmm. And then Paige would have 4 as far as the bonus points go.
Correct.
So still worth it to Keith to try to stay in this. They still try to get that extra. Every point matters.
Well, I mean, that's what, despite Matt Young's thoughts to the contrary, that's why the Northern Kings thing, it keeps you fighting. It's still worth points to try and kill stuff, to try and take things at this point. Even though he's not likely to win, I think we all can
Agree on that.
agree on that one, and I'll be surprised if he's even awake by the time, we get to post-game discussion. But, he's still there to fight. And if he can get that 1 point, that helps him, in the scoring at the back end.
Yeah.
I think my wife just went to bed too, so it's definitely late.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the unicorn charging the Earth Elemental Horde?
To stop them from doing stuff, I guess.
Yeah. He
Well,
wants to beat
how far is that Earth Elemental Horde away from that horde of infantry?
Well, I don't think he can
Let's
see.
Well, no, but you can surge potentially. But
Well,
yeah,
or maybe Keith withdraws with the Earth Elementals, move sideways, and then we get some sort of weird double charge into, into those guys, maybe.
yeah. Man, that's what they're trying to figure out now, or I don't know.
I know, and I'm all for being thorough, but do you really need to be spawning in extra units at this point?
As someone who can't make a Masters team for the life of them, maybe this is what people that make Masters do. They think these things out. I don't know.
So that's your fault for living where you do.
I know.
This is a shout out to anyone in the Kings of War community that feels like their region is too tough. We welcome you in the West.
Come on, baby.
Move to California.
Sunny here. We're
So
like,
look,
you want to be on the Masters team? You want to be on the Masters?
I'm gonna be honest here, right? Half of our state's on fire at any point in time.
That's true. Yeah.
It's incredibly expensive to live here. Some of the people are probably rude, whatever, but we have a less competitive Masters scene, so it balances out.
It's totally worth it. Yeah. Well, yeah, because like Texas, half their state's on fire, good chunk of the year too, but they're a lot more competitive in terms of, then you have plus dojos in your state. So,
And this is no insult to our Masters team. I love all of us.
Yeah.
I think we're great. You will still have to compete, but I do want to also point out the same applies to the Pacific Northwest. we're no longer the worst. So,
oof.
down.
Shots fired. Love it. If there's ever going to be any GTs the rest of this year, I'd say that's good bulletin board material. But
Yeah, please come down to my GT and prove me wrong and swell my numbers in October.
Heck yeah. So what's going on right now with Paige? What is he doing?
I have no idea. He's
I'm
still measuring.
I'm out of witty comments. I'm done. What else?
Did he move? Did he drop the?
How
What's
did
up
he
with
hand
the
those
token
tokens
now?
over? How did those tokens move?
I'm so
Well, the 2 were on it, right? It's the one that's moved from the Earth Elementals somehow.
Yeah, because you drop it in your footprint.
Right.
and you pick it up by touching it. So, yeah.
I'm so lost.
He's token shuffling. So you Bane Chan on.
Maybe that's part of his magic trick he's doing. Just if you can't blind him
No,
with
it-
brilliance, bath him with bullshit. So maybe that's what
It
he's
works.
doing right now.
It works.
Sidestep.
So you
Sleight of hand. It's like,
no, I mean, so here's the I believe the sneaky way it works is you drop your token within your footprint.
right.
Uh-huh.
It is touching your edge. If you are side to side with another unit, then it's touching their edge as well, and you
Right.
can pick it up because you're technically touching it. That
Mm.
I'm guessing how it works.
And I think the Earth Elemental sidestep too, so maybe that was.
Oh,
Steve
what's
brought that up.
happened?
I don't even know what's going on. Paige is just on another level that I'm just not even recognizing at this point.
He's just doing some more combats up top.
It's just numbers
Ooh,
flying
double
across
six.
the board. This is the Matrix. It's got me. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
And because of that swap, there's now no way that Keith can get that token now, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's Steve Hildrew, Awake Alert, has
Oh.
only been watching this game for
It's a dangerous
45 minutes.
user.
Has corrected us that they dropped it, sidestepped out of the way, the Earth Elementals that is, and the Horde pivoted onto it and picked it up that way.
So disengaged, dropped it, sidestepped, and then got it. Maybe. Yeah.
So he got the unicorn, I guess. Yeah, with the water elementals.
Yeah. Rear charge with the elementals would do that.
Okay, now it's like
Plus
bottom of 7, please, not bottom of 6. We are not going back in time. We are staying focused. We are moving forward.
Come on, boys, turn 8.
Yeah.
No, please.
Oh my God. I just want to say shout out to those who have stuck with us the whole stream, the audience. Thank you very much.
You're the real
So-
MVP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
you're the very
it's been a great, really interesting game. Very tactical, very thorough. So
Well, I mean, especially in that middle part of the game, that's what you want out of a game where it's just like, oh, there's no way Paige is winning this one. And the next turn, oh, there's no way Keith's winning this one.
yeah,
So you had that in the turns like probably 4 and 5, really. It really wasn't until in turn 6, kind of like, yeah. I blame Keith's child for all these moves, or the dice rolling at least.
So we're joking about the turn 8, but at Masters, I kept telling Rossi that it was a 10-round tournament. Like we were all going to make our comeback on Monday. That was going to be the big Monday comeback.
Who'd have thought that was going to be the last big tournament we'd have in the U.S.? Sad.
Dude, I know this is true for a lot of us, and I feel bad, but there's this great, Masters was the start of this sort of, great run of tournaments we were all going to attend through the spring into summer, and I was all happy, Adepticon's coming up. I'm going to try and go up to Portland for Rose City. Other people had plans and all this, and it's just been wiped. It's just all of our plans have been taken out.
That was scary.
That was
Tom-
super scary.
Yeah.
15
And so
moves.
once again, I want to say thank God for UB and sort of this tournament and these events, because it's at least given us something to focus the community on. So
definitely.
Right.
Yeah, shout out to everyone who's doing stuff like this, making content, writing articles, doing whatever. Just it's been great that we've still had some momentum.
That is an insane amount of wounds that Earth
What? Wait a
Elemental
minute.
put
Wait a
on
minute.
that.
What just happened?
So that Earth Elemental Horde spiked to all hell and put.
So he did 13 damage.
13 wounds.
Yeah.
So what
but
is
he
that?
did not get
He needed an 8 twice, so didn't kill it, but yeah, that'd have been.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was close. That was close.
that's what I'm talking about. that unit should not even be in position to be charged.
Wow, that could have just. I mean, if he
That
kills
could have
that
completely
unit,
swung that
he wins.
game.
Yeah, he wins the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it should
100%.
not. It should not have been there.
Wow.
That thing
we
should have
almost
been
had,
chilling by that building that I'm pointing
Yep.
at that no one can see on the screen. But that building
Whoa.
over there on your screen. There.
Oh.
Yep. There you go. That building should have been in that building and not even close to being charged. But yeah,
Crazy.
Game ends.
and that poor lake is hindered. It's been hindered for like 3 turns now. It's kind of crazy.
So that was almost a pivotal 20 seconds after 3 hours and 15 minutes that could have changed the entire game.
That would have
Keith
been.
was almost clutch.
Man, I wish that had happened.
Wow, just crazy. So we'll give them
Wow.
a few minutes to come back into the stream, but that was crazy.
Pitch
That
wins.
was a very crazy last combat in terms of that. That was a crazy spike, right? Because it's 18 attacks on 4s,
It's insane.
and yeah.
Yo,
Why
Paige.
people- What's up?
That was nerve-wracking.
So a scary last 20 seconds, huh?
Yeah, that was insane. I saw look at those attack rolls. I was like, what? What?
Wow. I would have been just terrifying 30 seconds after 3-hour game to
And if the unicorn failed to wound the earth elementals, I'll be in trouble too.
Yeah.
So as Keith makes it in here, Paige, first off, congratulations. Really fun, interesting game.
Thank you.
What were some of the turning points? I mean, we felt that one when you were able to get that Pegasus into the Night Horde, when you just had that little bit of space, was a pretty big changer. And then also for Keith, he was able to get those 2 Beasts of Nature sort of in your blind spots early on. What were your sort of thoughts on the game?
When he got the beast into my blind spots, I thought that it forces my hand. I need to go, right? Because I can't hold back. He'll start to flank and rear charge me. So
Yeah,
that's why I started to charge all the critters in front of the knights. And thankfully there was a space for the Pegasus that first charge in.
Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Keith.
Can. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
saying that too. Once he put those Beasts of Natures there, I think Britton said that he pressed the go button on your army. Like the standoff was
No,
over.
Nothing? Oh, you know what? I'm muted. There we go.
Things had to happen,
Right.
Can you hear us, Keith?
I can. Sorry, I had it on mute. My bad.
Okay. So we're just, Paige was sort of bringing kind of like the 2 sort of key points we saw earlier on was one, Paige was able to get that Pegasus into your Night Horde. You just had the little bit of space.
That was dumb. That was a mistake.
Yeah. And then you were able to get your Beast of Nature like right up in his grill. And there's really great placement. You had both those, and that sort of forced him to have to like engage you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that early game? That, like you said, was the Pegasus that was just in moving the woodland critters to give space? That was just a mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake, but I still think that I think it was turn 3 when I had the front and the flank on the water elementals, and then I had the 2 flanks on the knights. I think if I pick up either of those units, it's a different game.
Yeah, it's a bad
Clears
turn.
The knights faster.
Bad combat round.
I feel like I had a shot to pick up like maybe the Forsaken too. Forsaker Knights. There's another unit I had a shot to pick up. Yeah, because I charged the Beast and the Forsakers. They weren't. I mean, it wasn't going to be easy, but you know. Yeah,
It felt
nothing.
to me that there were a lot of combats that you could have picked things up with sort of average or kind of normal rolls, and something went wrong in most of those, and didn't.
Yeah, and
happen.
I don't want to. You know, nobody hates the blind dice page.
Pivotal
Played a hell of a
third
game,
reinforces
but
everything.
Say that again, Paige.
That pivotal turn after I went in, right, and he started to charge flanks and all that. I was hoping that at least one of the units would survive, but it
All of
went
them
my way with most of them surviving.
And then
yeah, and even the. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
no, go for it.
I just, I don't like Paige played a hell of a game and did everything right. And, but I think, yeah, I think you're right, Britton. Like there were Sure.
I think we lost. You guys still hearing Steve?
We cut out.
Sorry. Keith.
Yeah, we lost you,
Steve
Keith.
or Keith, unfortunately.
We're not hearing you, Keith.
The most important thing I want to know is how many bottles did you go through in this game?
Keith of the baby.
2.
There we go.
And just like also to that final combat, Keith, man, oh my gosh, talk about like
So close.
20 seconds of just like I may actually win this game. What's happening? But
I know we were all talking about something else, and I was just like, "What? That's a lot of wounds."
yeah,
Like,
I was like, "What? Wait a minute, what just happened?" Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I know it's late, so really great game. Thanks for coming on the stream. Anyone with any other final thoughts?
Yeah, I thought that I played my first 2 turns too conservatively because he has 15 lightning bolts. So I should have pushed more aggressively and forced him to charge something. Especially my middle, where I should have just pushed my redemption knights up a little bit more to force him to start to charge me, because I could kill off the chaff and still jump my Pegasus in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because of that, I took 4 wounds from the Forsaken Knights in the first turn. Thankfully, all the lightning bolt whiffs in the second turn. We both whiffed our lightning bolts, but he did get his beasts in my grill.
Yeah.
Although there was no, I think when I charged out, he didn't have charged targets for 1 turn. So that saved me some time. And I did plan to push the man-at-arms over to his half. And I thought as a backup plan, I'll just keep delaying him. And that would be enough to win the game. And then halfway through, I realized that if I lost that center token and he picks it up on my half, he would win. He would tie at least. So that got me a little bit nervous over there.
Well, awesome, fellas. Thanks again. Thank you to the audience for sticking with us. I know it's late in a lot of parts of the U.S., so thanks to everyone who watched. And I know we got a bunch of stuff coming up on this weekend, right? I know Tom is playing on the top table, Tom Annis, tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that, right? That's going to be a great game. And then it's only, we're round 4, right? Coming up here, round 5, round 6, we're going to start getting some like real serious territory. So,
did you guys count the Q points?
a lot.
Oh, we did not.
We did not. It was
a
like,
very bloody
I have to
match.
count it then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We only count the kill points in kill scenario. We're not.
Yeah, you talked to Mike Atkins about the whole counting kill points.
Yeah. So Paige,
that was definitely a very good match to watch between 2 very good players, because I barely pay attention to my own games, so to be able to watch 2 top level players playing was pretty nice to see. So
yeah, there were just so many angles. We were like trying to figure out, if I do this, do I keep that in check? Do I get this covered? Do I get that covered? So there was a lot of planning in the movement phase.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
so-
no doubt.
So many possibilities
Yep. And
and alternate timelines and realities. we get it, Paige.
yeah, we got it.
but Paige got that. He got this right. That's what he
Yeah,
needed.
got it.
He got the
Yes.
one where he becomes victorious. So.
That's right.
Well, on that note, thanks again, everyone. Let you guys finish off the final scoring off air, get that posted. And make sure you guys follow the rest of the Dash 28 stuff coming out this weekend.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, it's been-